Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of By the Numbers. Shout out to our sponsor and partner, Rivalry GG. Go to rivalry.gg/RLS. And you can place bets on this event in a safe and ethical environment. I am Richard Lewis. Joining me as he always does, we got Duncan Thorin Shields. Looks like you've been fucking slimming down, son.
I have.
Just putting that out there. Well, you've been fucking...
Been back on the keto. Doing well.
You're doing that, is it, right?
Yeah. What I'll do with that is I'll go through phases where I just do it for a few months, and then I can't lie, there'll be periods where you get out of it and you're like, I'm only out for a week, but then obviously that becomes 2 months, and then in fact that's my problem with it, because it's too good a diet, like it works too well. It just becomes like the parachute that's like, I can always go back on it if I need to. So true
that. I just thought maybe you were looking slim because they've given you some sort of fucking terminal illness.
No, if anything, it's given. Tell you what, almost every day brings me new joy, Richard. You know what? I never knew it'd be this much fun not being at a major. Every day I wake up and I go, right, what have they absolutely fucked up today? So today was the scheduled piss up in the brewery. Yep, that's gone up, arse up. But what? Let me think. What else would they need? I mean, all they'd really need to run a major is PCs. Yikes! Nailed the PC. Some sort of like talent crew. Enough about the talent crew. Who's on the talent crew again? Whoever we say tomorrow. So yeah, the whole thing's it's a lot of fun. And here's the thing: it's not even just like sour grapes. There's definitely a bit of sour grapes. Let's be real. But I actually just
not for me. I'll be honest.
Yeah,
I was even bringing this up the other day because I've been doing this alternate stream. I was like, I can't speak for Thorin. I don't know if he's got fucking. A lot of people think we're like fucking one mind or whatever. But I was like, I don't know if he's got sour grapes. I don't know if he's upset not to be there. I was never going to be there. Like, even if they'd asked me, I would have said no. I'm not flying all the way to the fucking UK to do a fucking major. Have to come back. Like I got my fucking green card application going through. I've already said like I don't feel fucking safe at events. We got motherfuckers shooting at Dr. Disrespect's house. Tell me more about how the gaming community's, fucking not just got wild, crazy, unstable motherfuckers in it. So I'm like, I was never going. So it's not even sour grapes for me. For me, it's just this simple. You wanted to be king. You wanted to be king, right? You got the fucking crown now. Well, guess what happens? The peasants start talking about you now, motherfucker. That's what comes with the crown. All right? If you can't fucking handle that, you need to fucking not have it in the first place and stay as a, lowly lord, a count, a fucking
just a
viscount.
Cool little indie company who has their own vibe, and their own charm. And we're not ESL, we're trying to do things our way and build things up from the. Yeah, you can either be that guy or you can be the number one.
I was always fucking face its vibe, wasn't it? Like we do things differently. We're not ESL. Maybe we never even do any of the big events, but we do our events. And you remember up until as recently as fucking that event they did in Mexico, I don't think me and you could have been any more glowing. Any accusations of bias, certainly where I'm concerned, I think it's big of you to admit that there's a little bit of sour grapes in there. I mean, it's what people would probably assume anyway. But for me, absolutely not. I don't even think I was even going to get asked. I'm not bothered about that. I was never going to go if I was. But if you run a major in my fucking favorite game, right, in my favorite fucking esport, in one that I've been involved in for years and played a part in, breaking records and setting a fucking high standard, guess what happens? I am going to critique you now on the level that I've critiqued every other company that has touched one, including my own. Maybe not been as critical on E-League while I was working there. Certainly have acknowledged things we did wrong since I left. So any allegations of fucking bias are absurd. But I wanted to preface all of this because this show is going to basically say what I think a lot of us watching this first week are thinking. This has been, a lot of people use the fucking hilarious, headline, major disappointment. Every time a team goes up, major disappointment. Every time there's a little thing that's bad at a major, like the PGL and Krakow, major disappointment. This has been a fucking major disappointment. This has been fucking garbage. Hasn't felt like a fucking major at all. There's been so many things going wrong with it. Frankly, this is a fucking embarrassment. And I've got all the reasons in front of me. I'm going to fucking list them all. But I just wanted to get your initial thoughts,
I'll just, kind of go into depth on what I said there. Like, there's a tiny bit of sour grapes, but not for the reason people would think, actually. The reason there's sour grapes is because it's held in the UK. So it's one thing if people like, for example, go back and look at the Twitter timeline. Where are all my tweets about the E-League Boston Major? Now, E-League's a company I've actually worked with at most of their events. If I wanted to have sour grapes, I could have been all over that event. All I ever commented on for the E-League Boston Major was the talent crew announcement because, for example, didn't have Sponge on that one. You know, there was like a few things I thought should have been done differently. And I actually used it as a platform to make a point, which is about what would our ideal talent hiring scenario be for majors? Because I was thinking, I know a lot of people don't follow multiple games, contrasting it with something like the International, where one of the great things about the International is, you know, all the talent's going to be there. You know, the names you want to see will be there. And the best people will be rewarded at the end of the year by appearing at the International. So even I made the point. Exactly. Even the elderly get a little bit of shine before the grave. The yawning grave welcomes them in. Yeah,
he did a good job as well.
Not bad. He was pretty good. So no, the point I made though in my video about that one was, I think like in line with what you were saying, if you want to hold your own event, so if you want to hold the E-League Premier, if you want to hold ECS. Yeah. You'll never see me complain in my role as like community figure, journalist. You won't ever see me complain about who you hired for that. I might make a jab if I think you should have hired someone, but it'd be like on the fun banter level. But that's your event. It is your prerogative who the fuck you hire for that event, good or ill. But if it's a major, personally, I don't think it's your event anymore. It kind of is. Yeah. You're hosting it, certainly, but you have a responsibility that comes with that. It's the same way that, like, the Queen of England can't just go out and say anything she wants. I'm sorry, she can't. I know it sounds wicked to be the Queen, but you actually have a role of being the monarch and being the figurehead where you represent something different and you have a certain responsibility you carry there in how you act and behave. So personally, I think for the major, one thing that I would say would be my immediate guideline is no petty personal politics or industry beefs should be affecting, like, the quality of the major, like who you hire, what you do, the setup, even what country you held it in. None of these factors should be coming into play, and you definitely shouldn't be using it to score points against people. So, like, personally, like I said before, there's been majors before I haven't been hired for. In fact, there's been face it events I haven't been hired for. As I mentioned before, I've only ever been hired for one season of ECS. Remember, we've had, let me think, was this the last one the fifth one? I think it was the fifth one. Let me see. Yes, the last one was the fifth one. I was only hired for season 3, and that was because someone else dropped out, basically. So I would have never been hired for any ECS events. Go back on my timeline. Listen, I used to be wilder on my timeline. Where are all the tweets about how shit ECS is, how they're all cunts, like, they're fucking everything up? Like, no, there's none of that. So the point is, it's not really all sour grapes, but there is a little bit of it, because I do feel like it's like a purposeful snob when it's in your own home country. And, you know, we have so little to be proud of from the UK and esports, beyond the great commentators. So to also get snubbed in that sense is a little bit like, you are kind of just saying, fuck me.
Yeah, so, I mean, so
you know, fair's fair. But like I always say, though, it's like I used to say with ESL, I never make up the story. I never invent or fabricate something you've done. But if you do something fucked up, I'm definitely going to have fun with it. Who the fuck wouldn't? Is there no humans out there? What if your worst enemy, who's just fucked with you your whole life, does, like, trips over and falls into a pile of dog shit? What, you're not allowed to laugh? Get out my face.
Well, look, you know, we've talked about this multiple times. I was talking about it with Scoot. If it was going to be a celebration of, like, UK Counter-Strike, which was how it was originally fucking pitched to me, you know, I mean, as I said, they were asking me to fucking go on documentaries and all this content that they had planned, which obviously after they started fucking trying to intimate that I can't say what the fuck I want on my own podcast.
Madness, isn't it? Whenever people do that, anyone out there, tournament organizer,
you're getting.
You are an idiot. You are the idea that we can't just give our opinion on an opinion show. Remember, we don't have any power, you know. Like, people don't hear our opinions and go, right, stocks dropping, everyone out on them, sell, face. Like, we're just giving our opinions. Like, get mad as you want on your own platform. It's our platform. Get the fuck out.
Yeah, but then, like, you know, the publicly go, I don't think you guys are fully aware of the facts. Definitely are. You know, and
that one kind of came back to bite him.
yeah, just a fucking tad, right? So you know, so once that happened, I was like, well, I'm not even gonna fucking you know, be involved in any of the content. If you just want to fucking airbrush me out of history, do it. I mean, I'll remember it until the, you know, alcohol-induced senility kicks in. I think most people will remember it too. So I guess I just won't be in this supposed celebration of UK Counter-Strike, despite being somebody who's worked pretty much almost exclusively in Counter-Strike, or 70% of my career has been spent in Counter-Strike, and being from the UK. But I said, you know, I was talking about it with Scoot. on the No Majors Club, we were talking about it, and I said, like, if it is truly meant to be a celebration in Counter-Strike, why don't you get get a cameo from Joe Miller? Where's Red Eye? Why
sick
aren't
as
you?
fuck, wouldn't it? That would be a great example of putting down the fucking industry beefs and rivalries.
Yeah.
And actually, by the way, I would love that. I'd praise them if they did that. Wouldn't that be so sick if they had like?
It's not like he has to be on the talent. It's not like he has to be on the talent. He just comes out,
just come out on stage, or bring the trophy out, something, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Just an appearance, even doesn't even have to do any commentary, but just an acknowledgement. And it's the same with Red Eye. Just seems really weird to me that it's. I would
like to see my boy Vince there as well. What the fuck's he
ever done? I mean, you got Vince just down the road. I mean, listen, I know when it comes to commentators, we've got 3 really good pairings, and I said the thing that always hurts Vince is that he's not got a partner. But then as well, let's talk about Pansy. Let's talk about Lauren. She's from the UK. She's played a huge part in Counter-Strike. She's not involved. You've got people like, again, I was talking about this, like, no disrespect to anybody. I don't like to shit on somebody's work. Parler is not a fucking stage interviewer. I think like when he does wacky, goofy content.
He's good at that. That's his fucking wheelhouse, isn't it?
Yeah, when he does content that's in line with his YouTube, it's good. When he's on stage and he's got to interview people, on the spot, you've got 3 questions. They're all from different parts of the world. I think he struggles to put out good content. Meanwhile, we've got someone like Smix, who puts in so much fucking work, so much prep. And again, I don't know if they tried asking her, but I'm going to guess that they probably didn't.
And also, mate, that's also something ideal to get Red Eye involved with. You know what? Say whatever you want. Like, I don't know if people nowadays remember him as much because those commentary days are like quite a while. It's like half a decade ago now. But one thing Red Eye is brilliant at is doing those stage interviews, because the key thing is he knows how to make it like the epic sporting moment. So that's when you're going to get like a Taz or someone who's going to give him some great quotes.
Oh, yeah,
because he's going to bring that vibe. Whereas Parler's whole vibe is the fun vibe, like that's not like that's even good for other events, but it's not the major, it's not the same sort of feeling to it, because I want every interview to be the one where they might say something cool or something like super memorable, or that'll be like what will define that match. So it takes, like, let's face it, Red Eye is esports royalty in that respect, so you got to pay homage.
And again, crucially, if this is all meant to be Britain, UK, London, CSGO, I mean, like, you've just ignored, immediately, like, what's that, like 6 or 7 names? Meanwhile, and this is no disrespect to people that I'm friends with, but I'm going to say, like, I never liked the idea of making your debut in the big leagues unless you are something fucking pretty fucking phenomenal.
I'll give you the example. Here's the example, okay? I don't think it even was the international he first debuted at. But you know what? If you know anything about Dota, if PPD is available, because he did a few events as like an analyst, and let's say the first event he was available was the international, that's exactly in line with what you say. I'd make an exception there. You make this guy's a fucking genius. Likewise, Sean Gares. If he'd have never been on a major, of course, well, funnily enough, it was majors he was on first. So exactly, existence. If he retired, these are the people. Yeah, obviously, it's like the Hall of Fame requirement. You skip it for these people. But I'm sorry, Daps. Listen, I like you. I even think you're pretty cool, but not for your first time, mate. Yeah, you don't just go straight to the big leagues.
No, and this is what I'm talking about. Like, obviously, Daps and Pimp are, the 2 standout names kind of there, and I'm friends with both of them. I like both of them, and I hope that they do more desk work in the future. It was nice of Daps to tweet out something that all talent knows. And all players quickly find out, like, we don't just sit around talking shit. There is a lot of work involved in it. And, it would be great if every player could spend a day on a desk. It would fucking, it would broaden your horizon.
One of my favorites, Rich, is I've noticed there's a trend, right? I think it's really cool, which is that whenever ex-pros do the desk for the first ever time, they always arrive and they're like, got their little fucking dossier with the notes, like, got all my notes, guys. And then I always say, like, that's cute. Yeah, I remember when I used to do that. Because the thing is, sometimes you make notes if it's something important or whatever. And one time, one of them, when he had all these notes, he was trying to get through, like, oh, what's the pick band for this one? One of them said to me, I won't say which pro, because I'm not going to embarrass him. He basically just said, like, why were you doing the pick ban without notes? And I just said, this is my life, right? Like I'm watching every game, and I'm at most of the tournament. Well, not as much now. This is a few years ago. I'm at most of the tournaments, and I'm doing it every single match. Like that's my thing. So like, I don't need the notes because I haven't just researched it. I am doing this as my life, mate. So again, like the idea that we're just coming on to fill 2 minutes before the next game, it's a little bit naive. I certainly wouldn't make out like we're the fucking stars of the show or anything. Obviously not. But there's always. It's like that classic thing, isn't it? Like the easier it looks, actually, that's like skill. It takes skill to make it look easy and effortless, you know.
But you know, so again, we're talking about all these names that have like been eschewed, and you know, you bring in some first timers like just going straight into the major, and you know, it's like again, I'm all for the Hail Mary pass. I'm all for trying out talent, but I'm like you. You know, when I was at E League, when Nip didn't qualify. We were like, why don't we try and get one of the guys on the desk? Get right, Forrest. I mean, 2 future fucking Hall of Fame players, and it would have been the first time they'd have done desk work.
Sure.
You know, and again, I'm like you. I think you skip the requirement for somebody like that. But you know, again, no disrespect to Daps. Daps is sat on the desk while his team's getting fucking knocked out of an epicenter qualifier by Swole Patrol.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like I'm sure he's thinking. Now, like, well, what the fuck am I doing? Because I got to go back to that fucking shit show.
That's actually one part I couldn't believe. Like, I don't know if the timing was that, you know, you just didn't know about it or whatever, but like the idea your in-game leader isn't going to help you in the qualifier for a big tournament you could play in, so you can do week 1 of the major when all like fucking Vega Squadron and Spirit are playing. Like, even on that end, like, come on, there's some priorities are off here, boys.
Yeah, but but anyway, you know, like I just think like. You know, you've got a subpar interviewer because he's not really an interviewer, and I don't think he ever has been. I think you shoehorn Parler into that role because you want to get him in the talent pool. You've got some, you know, major debutantes. You're bringing back Threat, which I know he's Facet's boy, and again, love Threat. But you know, how active has he been the last year or two? I don't know. And again. It's like I say,
you know, people take that for granted, Rich. There's also a perception. You know, people love to point out if they think I haven't played the game enough to know about the game, right? You know what they never point out, Rich, is that you could be an ex-pro who hasn't watched any of the matches in the last 6 months. You know what? There's a certain ex-Nip player who I reckon would even admit he's done that sometimes on desks. He's just done the events he's done, maybe 3 in a year, and he hasn't watched the games between. So you know what? He doesn't try to go super in depth or anything. He just gives his opinions, but you can tell when he says it, like, oh, right, did you not see that little one, that tier 2 event they lost at, or when actually they've changed that pick ban a bit, mate. And I tell you what, it's a really sad moment when you're actually on a big event and it happens, because what happens is you're there, you're pumped up, you want it the best show you can, you throw some comment to them, and then they make a comment where it's like, you, because you know them as a person, you know, like, oh shit, you haven't watched them in the last month, like, oh fuck, you're still on the old lineup, like, like that, you actually feel like a sinking feeling, because it's like, come on, man, what are we doing here? What is this?
Yeah,
this isn't a fun event, you know. This is like the CS Summit or something.
And people don't realize as well, like, you're caught in a rock and a hard place, because you know Twitch chat are going to be screaming, you know, fucking that, you know, the person got it wrong, or you know, but
you don't want to say it, so you want to see.
But then, like, do I say it on the air and make it awkward? Yeah,
it's rough, isn't it?
Yeah, so it can have this like snowball effect on a broadcast. It can create these weird little moments. But you know, so look, just to say right off the bat, I think like tonally, they're gonna have to do some pretty fucking amazing content for me to pull it back and make it this fucking celebration of, you know, the UK Counter-Strike esports, because I am not fucking getting that vibe, not from the talent hire, you know, not from any of the sort of things that I've heard that are going to be planned. And honestly, in terms of it being like a community celebration of the very best of the best, I don't even think it necessarily is going to tick that box from a talent perspective either. I think a lot of big names have been overlooked. And again, I am absolutely not talking about myself. I would not have been involved. I would have very politely and graciously declined had I been asked. But, you know, I think even if they do like what PGL did, where they bring you in for Thorin's Fireside, you know, something, you know, the fact that they didn't want to do that speaks volumes. There's a real edge of pettiness that has snuck in to Face It. And I'm going to tell you, this is all predicated on they've got such an unbelievable fucking raging hate boner for ESL, which might very well be justified. that they're actually letting this inform their decisions about the desk, and also, decisions about how they do things. And I think when you're creating an event like this, and your primary motivation is we want to do a good event because it's a celebration of the community. We want to have the best people there. We want it to be a wonderful celebration of Counter-Strike and UK Counter-Strike and everything else. Actually, what they want to do is we want to do the major better than anyone else because fuck ESL. I think that's a real sad indictment of your motivations if you face it, and it's become pretty self-evident. I mean, I'm amazed actually that some people who are affiliated, in the loosest sense that they work ESL events, are even there at the moment. But I'm sure if Faceit could have got away with it, they would have people just completely expunged, But let's talk about just general things, aesthetics.
Indeed, expunged.
Yeah. Let's talk about aesthetics. I think the opening set, I hope that's going to change. It looks awful. Somebody who was on my Twitch chat said it looked like when kids at a high school do a fake news channel, for the school broadcast. So much wrong with it. It looks very tacky, cardboard.
Like that fucking G-Eazy video where he's like, I love it. It's like he's doing the news presenter. It just looks like that, doesn't it? Like you've had 5 minutes to set it up. You made it look half decent if you had 5 minutes. If that's it's like that thing where it's like, is it going out like that?
Sick reference, by the way.
Wasn't bad, yeah. Listen, I'm trying to mix in some of the things the kids know now, Rich. I've realised like body horror 80s classics actually don't go down that well with the new crowd. They haven't seen them.
Video drum, isn't it? Like, but so these cheap tacky sets. I'm going to say this as well. Like, listen, I know at the very first major you came out wearing a fucking Lakers top.
Unending shit for it as well.
Yeah, of course. Because DreamHack basically said, wear what you want. Personally, look, we've come a long way since then. So maybe it's okay in 2013. For me, I don't think we need to be suits and ties. I've never thought we needed to be suits and ties. I never liked suits and ties. I never liked it when we did it at the E-League. Made me feel uncomfortable. I'm like a fucking potato with arms and legs stuck in it. I'm never going to look good in a fucking suit anyway. And I don't feel comfortable in one. And I don't like it. But at least have some form of fucking uniformity in what you're wearing. Like, where's the wardrobe guy? Like at ESL, okay, so what you want about ESL events, they do have like a wardrobe person who sort of comes out and very loosely coordinates, like, shirts and what you're doing. Like, there was one segment where you had somebody in a blazer and shirt, somebody else in a shirt but tucked out and sleeves rolled up, and Machine was wearing a leather jacket and a t-shirt. And it's just like, it just looks ridiculous. I mean,
then after that, he went up and did a 90-minute Eddie Murphy-style special, which fucking thrilled the crowd.
It did look a bit like fucking Raw.
Which, by the way, I love that straight fire show. But
it did look like that. And listen, I know. Again, look, I know it's a bit stuffy and old mannish, and I'm not saying, but like, have everyone wear a leather jacket then. If leather jackets are where you want to go. Like, if you want to look like the fucking T-Birds, go, do that. If you want to look like a fucking, if you want to look like it's the fucking first day in the office, do that. If you want to look like, you're at a fucking, stag do that. But try and coordinate it. And I feel like it's not even necessarily the talent's fault, because talent will, you just say we're a member of talent, much like you did when you wore your Lakers top. Just wear whatever the fuck you're comfortable in. You'll wear whatever the fuck you're comfortable in. But it's not a good look for a broadcast. I mean, literally just looking at it, it really looked like, an E-Frag level event. It didn't look like a fucking major at all. And that was just, and that's just on the surface, right? So I'll get some, go on, I'll pick your brains about that. I mean, aesthetics, it's been off for me.
Thing is, I don't have the greatest eye for that sort of thing. Like I've always said, like one of my
I never used to. I think because I've been working in television now for a while, and I'm at
you've kind of dialed into that a bit, because obviously you were thinking of E-League and the stage and stuff. The problem with that is, like, I agree. If I think to myself of some of the other really epic events, it doesn't quite match up to that. It does look a little bit tacky. But I am the person who also did think that, okay, I'll give you an example. When they made like Quake 4 or whatever, you actually couldn't turn the graphics down like we used to in Quake, to where it was just like a blank wall. And I was as a purist, this is you've removed their aim by 1%. What are you doing? And they were like, yeah, but no, we can't show this on stream. I was like, You should, because I want full visibility as a so I am a bit extreme on that one. So that's not one of my biggest concerns. But I can definitely see where you're coming from. And also, as you saw in 2013, that's what I used to look like, unfettered by all social conventions and understandings of aesthetics and fashion. I actually thought that looked good.
And the lighting was off as well. There was like a lot of shadows across the set and stuff. It just looked very amateurish, honestly, for a major. When you consider we've had, TV companies but again, it didn't look as good as like ESL One Cologne, which has definitely felt, that felt like a major.
It did, yeah.
So anyway, so forget that. Let's start getting into the real shit that's kind of fucked it up. Let's talk about this special build that Face It was sort of trumpeting and hyping up before it came in. We know that the special build, what was special about it was it had this built-in veto system for the picks and bans, and basically what happened was pretty much every fucking game was fucked somehow by a bug. And in particular on Inferno, it didn't particularly stand out, but I tallied it up. I looked at tweets and stuff before this show. There were instances on Mirage, instances on Cash. They have done an update today. If Sam wants to bring that up, the links in the Google Doc. But, they were talking about this special build, like we were going to see some awesome shit. In actual fact, what it did was pretty much break the fucking game and really interfere with the major to the point where you've got players like Shazam saying, listen, there were rounds I couldn't hear shit, but I just rolled with it. I was watching games live. I watched every game. I saw moments where it was very clear players couldn't hear the other player. There's a player right close to them on the left, and they just didn't even look that way.
You know what I loved about that is that this is like a classic example of where people who think they're helping you can just fuck you over entirely. It's like that thing where people who aren't actually trained as lifeguards, in theory, aren't supposed to go and try and save a drowning person because they might actually like drown the person themselves, like keeping their head underwater or doing that. So it's like if you saw when MSL got eliminated, obviously he's one of the people who really highlighted. I
was going to bring that up later.
No, but we'll go. It's a side point. It's what leading that. We can go into that still. But the point is, right? Guardian tried to like help out and be like, well, you should have complained to the tournament organizer, which then prompted MSL to say, oh, we did after every single match, every single day, and it never got fixed. So it's like you didn't know it, Guardian, but you basically just threw the fucking NBA Jam style alley-oop that then MSL did a 360 windmill slam right into onto DDK's head, I assume.
Yeah, right. Well,
don't know why his head came to mind. Just anyone's head at Fizz.
Right. Well. So here's the thing. A lot of people, and there's an element of truth to this, but I'm going to put forward a postulation. All right. There was an element of truth to this. A lot of people said, oh, well, it's Valve who've really shit the bed with this one. Okay. They've rolled out an update. It's broken the footsteps. They've fixed it now. They put out an announcement today. I mean, I'll read you what it says on the official Counter-Strike blog. So it's clearly related based on the wording. Says, added a server setting, MP_footsteps_server side, which is enabled by default and switches footsteps near the player from using a mix of client simulated and server authoritative to purely server authoritative. So all fucking gibberish, all Greek to me, but I'm guessing it is related just because it has the word footsteps in, and that's been the hot button topic, and this looks like a hot fix. But what I do know is in other tournaments, okay, if an update comes out by Valve, very close to a tournament, which they love to do still. I mean, I don't know. It's like, guys, can we not do this? Like, even fucking Riot have got this together, and meanwhile, everything else about that company's a fucking smoldering dumpster fire. But in general, they fucking have figured out maybe you don't change vast fundamental swathes of the game moments before a tournament because, there's a fucking tournament. But anyway, what appears to have happened is there was no contingency. And this is where I sort of start to think about, sure, if the game breaks because of a Valve update, that's on Valve. But where's the rollback option? Well, yes. Every other tournament, I know, if an update comes out and it breaks, they just say, oh, we'll play on the previous client, right? I mean, that's happened. Face It have done that. So why didn't they do it here? Because after day one, it was abundantly clear. I sat on Vince's, Vince the caster, newly retired. I sat on his fucking, stream, watching the games with him on day one. and you got all these interruptions and all these problems and this fucking embarrassing fucking moment where they didn't even, players are literally playing grandma's footsteps in the middle of a fucking map to see whose footsteps they can hear and whose footsteps they can't hear. And you have a full day of that. And it's just not even addressed. It's just, it's this special build and it's a problem. So you get past that. It's day 2. Same shit. I was chopping together VODs from the stream. And it's like, there's one game that like doesn't even go to overtime, and it's like 2 hours fucking long because of these interruptions. It's ridiculous. I super feel sorry for the talent because they're working these mad 12-hour, 14 days, no chance of relief, and then you sprinkle some overtime on that, and you're absolutely fucked.
Oh, and by the way, for the teams, think how much it sucks. Remember,
you go there at 9 a.m. with it. Yeah.
If you're one of the teams that thinks of like, remember PGL Krakow, people said there was problems with the PCs and they were having some issues there with FPS and with the smokes working, something like that, right? Well, what's funny is I can barely remember what the specifics were. So when people talk about PGL Krakow now, no one says, but of course, the match could have been affected by these. No, we just say Gambit was the best team and Immortals was amazing. And, why did SK fall out? FaZe, how did he go out last play? We don't comment. We never take it into account because it's too much information to process. So as we get further and further away from time, we're just going to look back. And those results will all just be considered 100% legit, nothing extra, just how you played. And so, for example, people will look back at that FaZe team who went 0-3 and go, you fucking clowns, what, you couldn't do anything. It's like, you have no clue if they were having like mad PC issues, if FPS drops. That's what one of the things that means in a major you also can't fuck around with. You got to fix these problems fast because these are people's legacies that are on the line. People remember the major. Think about Existence. You can't even tell a fan who started in 2016 Existence was ever a good in-game leader because he's just going to go, what, the guy flumped all the majors except one. Mm-hmm. That's the big score, So, it's different. It's not like a normal tournament where, we had some problems. This plagued this entire first stage.
Yeah, well, so it's like I say, there appears to be no contingency in place for this. Then this is just an aside, and this is something I know to be true. I don't know how many people out there who like CSGO know this to be true. It might be something we've said before, but obviously with the major and always new people coming in. Right, here's the stone cold fact. There have been big tournament organizers in our space that have blamed the game and Valve by extension for the issues during their during matches when there's been bugs and stuff, and it hasn't been Valve and it hasn't been the game, and actually it's been poor server setup or something.
They actually basically used the loophole that Valve doesn't really tend to talk about things generally, and just it worked.
yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, Valve would never come out and fucking defend themselves. They don't feel compelled to do it, because they're fucking Valve, right? So obviously, you've always got that stay of grace, that grace period where it's like, if things are going really bad, we can just blame Valve. So, I mean, first of all, we would never know. I guess we can assume with there being an update rolled out by Valve, it was a Valve issue. But again, my immediate thoughts would be, after one day of this issue being present, you got to roll back the client. If you can't delay the games, you got to roll back. You got to go on to something else. You got to use the previous patch. You got to inform Valve, and you got to say, listen, we're running a major here. We love you. We're very grateful you gave it to us. But right now, players cannot hear fucking footsteps. That's a bit of a problem in the game. That's like 50% fucking sound and spatial awareness and all that shit. So we're going to roll back to the previous one. We don't have the sick new veto thing. I mean, at the end of the day, if you want to, right, let's just look at win and loss, right? If you leave in this super sick new veto map removal automated thing, right, what are you losing? Well, we're losing sound. So
competitive integrity.
Yeah, we're losing competitive integrity to have this super sick feature in. It's not worth it, is it? I mean, you can immediately see it's not worth it.
Like, I'll give you an example, a really quick one, right? So in the last match, Vega Squadron beat North in a best of 3, right? Now think about this. Vega Squadron is a team who plays super aggro, push through smokes, just swarm you. North is a very tactical team who try to play off the reads of their in-game leader. I could already, if I wanted to be a hater, construct a whole narrative where the tipping point was that Vega Squadron could play under those conditions, they could play with lower FPS, they could play without the sounds, whereas North, that limited their game, they couldn't get the same information, they couldn't make the same calls. Now, I don't want to do that, and I wouldn't do it generally. I wouldn't imagine it was that big an impact. But you see what I mean about the integrity? You've already, the question is arising, whether or not you answer it affirmative,
Yeah, and look, I understand as well. We've got the whole panorama issue. So was a previous build pre-panorama?
Would it in itself? Yeah, sure.
Would it be compatible? Is there even an option? Or I just feel like, if you've got this special build that comes in for the major, you've got to understand games are notoriously glitchy and new things and things can break, and it just doesn't feel like there was any contingency for that happening. Meanwhile, as you said, we played what is ostensibly a major qualifier on this patch with just these unbelievable issues, and it skewed the entire outcome of the major by this point. I mean, there's no getting away from that fact. I mean, I think MSL's been a little whiny bitch, honestly.
Sure.
But I mean, it's not like he's been a whiny bitch without a point. He's been a whiny bitch, and he's got a pretty good fucking point, honestly. It's not good enough. So again, wherever people want to assign blame, I also do kind of feel your major, but kind of stops with you, right? I mean, for everything. They had the ISP outage as well, which we'll may as well talk about that very briefly. There were a number of times the stream went down, which people seem to have forgotten about. Most notably, of course, where they had to postpone an entire game. But they also lost the last
all the players
round.
were just sat there posting memes
for the entire day.
That's such a bad look for you. And by the way, no, the solution is not go and tell players, do not tweet. It's like, no, they're doing that in response to your fuck up. If anything, they're bringing levity to the scenario,
Yeah, and this is what I mean. I think as well, it's like, there's no getting away from it. We'll have to. I may as well just sandwich this in the middle here, right? You had issues. You can say again, it's the ISP. I've seen smaller events than a fucking major have a satellite truck as a backup. So
I remember there was an event, I think it was an MLG StarCraft event that had to do the rest of the event on like 4G or something. And they said, it was mega expensive, like the bill was fucking ridiculous, but we had to finish the event, so we had to do it.
Yep. I was going to say MLG have done it on 4G. Epic LAN in the UK hired a satellite truck for their stream with about 20 people watching it or whatever the fuck. And probably bankrupted the company. But they did it. So here we are in a major and we're going, the ISP's gone down. And I think somebody brought this up, and there was an excuse. Of course there was an excuse.
Always is, isn't there?
Yeah,
they've never learned from that MLG Adam. Like, go and study that guy's fucking post. That's how you talk to people publicly.
Yeah. So you had that, right? So you lost the last round of, I think it was the Team Liquid game. Team Liquid beat somebody 16-6. Can't remember who it was they were playing. I tweeted out about it at the time. But
Spirit? Something like that.
Yeah,
Vega Squadron, one of the two, I think.
Yeah. Well, and it went down at something like 14-6.
Okay.
So I mean, what a disservice to the fans that have tuned in. Keep in mind, a lot of Team Liquid fans will probably be American. You're staying up. People are setting their alarms. And then you get to, am I going to even see the winning round, my team win, the winning moment, the high fives, maybe catch an interview? Nah, you're not seeing any of that. Sorry, mate. Thanks for tuning in. So that for me is unforgivable. And then on top of that, you just have an entire game that you've got to postpone. Meanwhile, the players have been sat there all day because of these player call times they've got. They're sat around waiting to play, and then you just get told at midnight, sorry, now you got to come back first thing in the morning, though, to play that game. Otherwise, the whole schedule's fucked. So that's unforgivable. So just so many issues. And then on day 2...
Because think about that, if you're a fan, right? They even design tournament schedules so that the team playing last isn't playing first. You're not only playing first, you were supposed to play at the end of the day. You've planned your whole sleep schedule for that. Then you're told you're playing earlier than initial call time. Call times are usually 10 or 9 in the morning nowadays. That's outrageous.
Yeah. And then on day 2 and day 3, there were still times the stream just dropped. Again, people have forgot this because obviously it's fucking Face It. And the Reddit circle jerk is out of control.
It's mad, isn't it? Imagine if this was the ESL, mate. If this was the ESL Calavita event,
if this was ESL right now, they would be demanding that literally, like James Lampkin or someone came out with a fucking ritual samurai sword and disemboweled himself live on stream. That would be the only way to placate these fucking morons on Reddit. Right? Who literally, I probably saw this thread made about 10 times. Can we stop giving Face It so much shit for the major? Whose fucking fault is it then if it's not them? I mean, I literally saw in threads, someone went, yeah, well, surely the book stops with them. And people were replying, going, can't do nothing if the ISP goes down. And then this person replied, well, you can do this, and this. Yeah, but it's not cost effective, is it? Well, the price of you not spending the money is you get called useless cunts when it fucks up. That's how it works. Welcome to the fucking big boy league, right? And it just seems to sail over everyone's head because it's fucking Face It, right? We all love FPL, yeah. We all love our fucking players in FPL. It's fucking unreal. And then I also thought as well, like the way everybody sort of like when Face It were like making jokes about it on like day 2 or whatever, it's like, okay, make jokes about it when you've definitely fixed all these problems, guys. Like, let's get out of the fucking trenches before we say, I think it'll be over by Christmas. You know what I mean? They don't even do that. And they're laughing and joking about it, and it's the same errors and the same problems. There's no way in this day and age that for a major, the stream should be dropping 2 or 3 times in a day, even if it's for a round, even if it's for a moment. Shouldn't be happening, let alone all the other stuff. So I can move on to the next issue. We can talk about the equipment, which has been subpar by all accounts. Basically, the first issue that they had, and this was brought up by the Player Association, I had Scoots on the alternate stream. Scoots was basically saying that like players had sort of got together to say that the equipment was subpar, and they had to play on this for, like the first 2 days, or maybe even partway through the 3rd day, right? So there's a tweet by Legia. Legia said, you can't even understand who's talking. The mics were so bad. They couldn't understand their own team, like differentiate who their own teammates were. Because the mics were so bad on fucking Discord or whatever, chat program they were using. So that's a bit of a problem, isn't it? Because if someone, you need that. You shouldn't have to go like, right, this is God B talking, lads, right? Fucking, and I can see 2 terrorists. You shouldn't have to fucking say that, should you? You should just be able to go 2 terrorists.
This is one issue I have, Rich. So I want to get your take on it, actually. Because as I referenced, we're going to talk about it later with MSL, but when Guardian responded, like, oh, you shouldn't do this publicly, you should go to ESL, there was also a guy from Refresh who said something similar. I mean, the reason he was saying it's fairly obvious, he doesn't want someone at his event to do it. So I get what game they're playing. And I know if I was the tournament organizer, obviously I want you to come to me rather than Twitter. But this is the part people don't know about Counter-Strike, is that unless you literally are Astralis, maybe like Navi and Simple, people who have like, you're not only the best, therefore you've got the biggest status, but you've got like legendary players who really could not play a match and be like, it was because it was all fucked up. Most times in esports, when you have a problem, if it's a minor problem, according to the TO, you just play the match. And again, no one remembers in history. So let's imagine if you were MSL in that scenario, on day 1, you got this problem, or you're Legia in big, and you just go to Face It and say, listen, excuse me, like I had a problem with the mics, we can't hear properly. Could you make sure that's fixed for my next game? If you sit down for your next game and it isn't fixed, at that point, as far as I'm concerned, you go public with it, because you're now going to have to live with those results, and your whole fucking future and career, next contract might be based on these results and whether you have a major spot. And if you lose, and you're at the end, by the way, you even have to sign a fucking piece of paper to say you accept the result. You're accepting all that happened. And at that point, it's like, well, I gave you a chance. I took the first result, but I can't just keep taking these losses, So
there was the mic issue. Then there was the headset issue. Headsets apparently was subpar. Then you had the other issue as well, that they had to get, like, some teams were like, you've got a headset sponsor, right? We have a headset sponsor. We can't have photos taken of us wearing and alternate sponsors headsets. I think most notably, for example, I think like Team Liquid is sponsored by HyperX, right? Okay. And these were fucking Steel Series. So then they have to tape these up, which looks fucking awful at a major. I understand they've got to use uniform equipment, but again, why is it branded? You know what I mean? Like, why can't it be like, we use the fucking just non-branded fucking airport, pilot fucking soundproof headset. So you had that, but basically people said the equipment wasn't good enough. That's totally on Face It, by the way. You can't fucking lay the blame anywhere else. And then crucially, they've had this issue with the PCs. There's been tweets from Kane, coach of Na'Vi. Fallen today was tweeting saying that the fucking practice PCs are terrible, dropping down to 120 FPS in firefights, which this day and age is obviously subpar. And people were complaining about this on day 1, day 2, day 3, that in the games, the PCs weren't good enough. I think Taco mentioned it from Team Liquid, maybe Zipnix too. A couple of people said the PCs, this is not what we're used to when we go to other events. And that's not good enough either. I mean, for me, all of this stuff, all of the equipment stuff, I know players will bitch about anything. Players will bitch about anything. You saw how fucking butthurt they got about fucking the hat rule. But I want to wear hats. I've got my name's on a hat. Why? I want to sell that. That's just fucking stupid and childish. The PC being garbage, on the other hand, is a very valid fucking complaint. And there was a tweet by Ye out today, who I'm told by Kanye West, you can't fuck with him.
He shouldn't. Don't be throwing contracts at him either. He can't read.
No, definitely not. Ye, why the fuck is another player having to publicly postulate that he might have found a fix for the fucking FPS problems that these PCs are having?
It's mad, isn't it?
Where is your tech expert, Face It? Where is the tech expert? I think to other events, and I think about how, like, on day 1, people bringing up PC problems. Usually by day 2, it's all resolved.
Oh, the best example,
or you get told you're going to have to fucking cope with it and just suck it the fuck up.
Remember Blast Pro Series? Blast Pro Series couldn't play the games. Server problems, computer issues. Couldn't get any of the games done the first day. Overnight, they flew someone in to fix that shit. And you know what? The next day it worked.
Yeah. So you've got a player in the tournament who's publicly, again, I'll read his tweet in case people missed it, because
people forget, with the old, remember when we did some of the early majors where a major was 4 or 5 days long? We'd be at like the fucking semi-finals now with these problems if this was the old system.
Yeah, it's true. Actually, the tweet's deleted. So I don't know if it's deleted because it's not the fix or because Facebook
Truth is out there.
Delete it.
Truth is out there.
Which is also something that's happening. Just so
have you noticed that's the default move by Face It? They don't ever address the problem. They let it linger. They wait until they think they know who's to blame before they'll comment. It's always shady stuff, like things are just getting deleted and then just into the memory hole. No, it never happened. What are you talking about? That's gone. That was never the case. It's like, why is this the approach? Just admit it,
So, I think he deleted it, actually. I won't let that on Face It's doorstep because a few people are saying it didn't work.
They called up Jack. He removed it from Twitter.
Yeah, he's saying he's saying that there's a few players who've messaged him back saying that it didn't work for them. So it's not a, fix. But again, why are players having to come together? I mean, keep in mind, the average fucking pro player, it's mind-blowing how little they actually know about any of this shit. Half these cunts can't plug a fucking mouse in. And that's why we have a lot of delays at events. But why are the players having to public? Where is the tech experts? Like you said, previous events have flown. You need to have somebody who deals with this. Yeah, I saw other admins from other events, like, fucking Messioso's out there, like, trying to help fix this shit. It's like, I haven't seen any Face It comments about substandard PCs at all. And it's not something you can put your head in the sand about, because even if you tell the players, you're just going to have to deal with it, right? And that's just what you've got for this event. As soon as they go out the tournament, you're getting lit the fuck up.
Of course.
You're getting lit the fuck up. I lost a firefight because my PC dropped down to 60 FPS when I was trying to make a spray. I had weird lag spikes, All of this is going to be up on social media. It's going to make the major look terrible. It's going to make your company look terrible. So this is a big fucking priority for me. Again, it affects the competitive integrity of the tournament. And I'm amazed that we're still having these issues. I looked at the spec. The spec should be good enough. So this is a setup issue or an overclocking issue or a threading issue. I don't know what it is. I'm not a tech guy. I do know if you're running a fucking tournament, you should have a tech guy. Somebody who can fix this issue. It's been going on. It literally has not been fixed from day one. And we're still here. And it's on the practice PCs and the tournament PCs, apparently. So, I mean, again, even if it wasn't on the tournament PCs, having dog shit practice PCs, not fucking ideal at a major either, is it? So, I don't even know what to say about that. I don't even know what how that can be a thing.
It's just wild that with this many years into CSGO, we've got these problems. I'd understand if it was the earlier days. Things happen. People haven't done big events before, but come on, man. You're doing the World Championship in 2018 and you haven't got your PCs set up right. You haven't got fucking proper headsets with good mics and people can't hear people in the servers. But upside is, the Veto looks real fucking slick. This is real life.
Right, so I'll lighten the mood because I did want to spend about the first hour talking about all these problems. I think it's important to document all this stuff because people will forget because it's Face It. Like Face It Mikey will fucking tweet out that he's coming back to Reddit and everyone will be like, yeah, great.
You know what, Rich? Let me just 1 second call someone out a second here. Because you know what? Do you remember when we first made the point about the rule book and the major eligibility for those players? Yep. And if you remember, it was an account that at the time wasn't verified as actually working with Face It. It was an account called Clem Murphy. And this account now actually has the tag like Face It
Sounds like a fucking farmer in the fucking late 1800s.
Does sound like
the American West. I'm Clem Murphy and I'll sell you a steer.
So this guy, anyway, it turns out has been verified, so presumably he does work for Face It. But he has been all over damage control on Reddit, right? And to the extent that I got tilted, because I saw at least two comments by him where he addressed the topic he either could not know, such as what information we had, or would not know, as in there's no fucking way that certain people are going to be telling him this private thing about how, the sort of thing that only the top person are going to. I've seen him address those sorts of comments and just tell people. And then obviously, because it's the plebs on Reddit, they just lap it all up. No, that's true then. Oh, it turns out actually that they just had the wrong sources for that information. How the fuck would you know that, Clem Murphy? So here's the thing. If you're going to be the front-facing PR, well, guess what? You now speak for that org. So do they want you saying all that stuff? This reminds me of that thing with that kid who was Zeus's Twitter guy just started commenting on stuff to me, and I was like, well, did Zeus actually say that? Well, no, but that's what he might have said. It's like, don't bother with that, mate. You just stay in your lane on that one, please.
So look, like I said, to lighten the mood, there was also this tweet by Pasha, which just fucking blew my mind that this was a thing. A tweet by Pasha. I mean, keep in mind, right? We all knew Virtus Pro were just there to fucking, take it in one last time. It ain't never fucking happening ever again. It was the most obvious 0-3 team ever, in my opinion. I know you selected differently. I had no fucking hopes for these guys whatsoever. So it's enjoy it. It's your last major. Me and those guys, got a lot in common. And anyway, Pasha put this tweet out saying, "I'm a person who almost never complains about event conditions," which I'm gonna say, yeah, that's true. I'm gonna do a Hillary Clinton DNC style fact check on that. I'm going to get Snopes involved, and I'm going to say, yeah, that's true. But when they say you can only have 2 eggs for breakfast or there is no more chicken for you, I'm getting angry. So imagine a world, right? This isn't hotel shit. Because, by the way, I mean, the average hotel is it's just a breakfast buffet. This was the catering that was hired. And they were rationing the food for the players.
I thought your tweet was pretty good because it was recreating the spirit of the Blitz or whatever.
Yeah, recreating the spirit
rationing, of the Blitz. We're back.
Yeah, I mean, I will say for the first 2 days when I was live tweeting, I was just in bed, sort of drinking whiskey, probably sailed close to the wind. Never quite got to your level, obviously.
Sure.
The career edging of Duncan Shields.
Exactly.
But never quite got there. But I did have.
It's like they say, Rich, you never know where the edge is until you've gone over it. And then you go, shit, let me grab a hold of that thing and try and climb back over if I can.
Right. But just imagine a world where you're telling players, like, as they're putting food on the plate, you can only have 2 eggs. And then this blew my mind as well. This was on Twitter, right? And of all the issues that FACEIT have had,
exactly. I love this.
Right? Of all the issues, because keep in mind, right? It's like you said, right? Whenever there was some shit with MLG, you'd see Adam Apicella, he'd be in the fucking his house addressing it, you know? Even ESL have now got to a point where they've been so fucking cuckolded by the Dota 2 community. Every time they run an event, they make a thread, give us feedback, please.
Well, here's the thing, because as you say, it's something of a comical topic, not that important for the tournament. So who was it? Was it FACEIT, Mikey? I mean, maybe Clem Murphy. Who was it who responded?
Well, it was of course Michele Atasani, the founder of FACEIT himself got involved and replied to this tweet saying, sorry to hear that. Let's have a chat with the catering. We know the biceps requires eggs. And then followed that tweet up by saying, we had a chat with them. They'll increase variety and remove quantity limitations effectively immediately. We've also asked for more protein options for the 24-hour snacks.
Right? Is this the world we live in?
Yeah, so the top man has replied to this. None of the other shit, by the way.
The red phone's ringing. Fuck, what is it? Important news from the tournament floor.
Yeah.
Ashes on Twitter about the eggs. Right. I'll take care of this myself. And then he comes out. He doesn't just say, all right, well, you know what? I reckon we can buy you some more eggs. He goes, we will oversee the policy procedures and remove quantity limitations on the egg-related dispensation.
Right.
Why is this? How could he have hyped that up anymore that he'll just say to the woman, give him an extra egg?
Mick, while you're still here, can you address the fact none of the PCs are... Nah, I gotta go get some eggs. Gotta go out and get some fucking eggs for passion. Yeah, like this is so absurdly amateurish. It is mind-blowing. And just the fact that he and this is classic FACEIT in a nutshell, just having the sense that, by virtue of replying to this immediately, we'll get about 10 good guy FACEIT threads when this event's been plagued with fucking problems. Let's just say, like, the biceps needs his eggs. And of course, the fucking morons out there just lap it up, right?
Don't worry. When that 12-pack of eggs
arrived, getting Pasha his eggs.
When that 12-pack of eggs arrived, that guy was just sat back with his fucking feet on the desk going, fucking nailed it, didn't I? Right. Fucking nailed it.
No, but it reminds me, right? Do you remember when fucking that episode where Homer Simpson gets promoted to like senior advisor, like Smithers leaves the power plant, and Homer Simpson's obviously a fucking moron, and Mr. Burns goes, do you have any suggestions? And he says, like, well, we need some tartar sauce in the canteen. And then, like, Monty Burns turns around and goes, yes, I see what you're saying, Homer. Yes, for a few cents spent on some tartar sauce, these morons will work harder for me and remain loyal. Meanwhile, our profits will increase. Yeah. Yes, I like the cut of your jibs, Simpson. And it's like, Michele Atasani's just done the same shit, hasn't he? Like, yes, for the price of a few eggs. What about the computers?
Exactly.
What about the fucking schedule? What about the stream? What about, do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous. Haha, keep your tartar sauce, fools. Like, that is the FACEIT major, mate. That's the major. It's ridiculous. So we'll move on from rationing food at a major. I never thought I'd be fucking talking about this. And then just some more classic, right? If you want to talk about there's a general level of incompetence permeated through this event, like stick a rock, you cut it in half, you look at what it says. It don't say Blackpool, it just says we fucked up. We got this. Did you see? I know you saw it. Vice on the fucking desk from nowhere, right? This is just a catalog of stupidity. So again, there was a comment about it on Reddit because. By another unverified but supposedly FACEIT person. Just to give people what happened, they FACEIT put out on their Twitter account an official video that was done in the style of Snatch, like people turning around, and it was all hyper stylized and cartoony, chin stroking, all of this. And they were basically saying, here's the guys, this is who you're gonna see. When the major starts up again, and the vast majority of the people were broadcast talent. And there were some people, obviously not on there, who we know are broadcast talent. There was no Anderson Moses in there. There was no Dapsop Imp in there. But then it had Parler was there and DDK was there and James Bardolph was there, right? And that interview Freya was there. And then in the middle of it, Vice from fucking Rogue just turns around, doing a fucking chin stroke like a fucking Bond villain, the most pathetic Bond villain of all time.
And of course, remember, it doesn't even say Vice, because it just says David Kim or Daniel Kim.
Daniel Kim, yeah.
That famous. Oh, Vice. Who's Vice? Daniel Kim. Oh, Daniel Kim, world famous professional caster. Are you for real?
Right. So Daniel Kim just fucking turns around like that, right? So HLTV see that video and they're looking at it and right. And the tweet that they put out, Face it was you'll get to see on air again. You'll get to see, and they tagged everyone in the tweet, not Vice, of course, right, and put it out there. So HLTV reported it and said, "Fucking hell, Vice, the young 22-year-old rifler from Rogue who've just gone out at the tournament, is gonna be on the broadcast." At this stage, I will add, it's actually fucking plausible. It shouldn't be.
Of course.
Yeah. But I mean, who fucking knows, right? With the way this major's been going. So HLTV put out a news post, and then everyone's like, wow, tweeting at Vice, congratulations, well done. Wow, looking forward. This is an interesting one, a bit strange, but interesting. Other people, this is what Thorin meant by them scrimping and saving on the talent. You just got some fucking no-name American rifler coming in there. Fuck this, mate. Immediately laying it on your doorstep. And then James Bardolph just tweeted going, lol, no, he's not involved at all. I don't, and then he even said in a now deleted tweet, at the Memory Hole Major, he said, I don't know why this video went out. And then Face It deleted the video. And then they put out an apology.
And then HLTV.org deleted the post.
Yeah, and then HLTV deleted the fucking
What is going on right now, Rich? Have I missed something?
No, but think about it. My sleep pattern's been fucked up trying to watch all these games. I'm streaming for 10, 12 hours every day. I've streamed every minute of this fucking event so far. And I'm fucking thinking, am I losing my marbles? Because 1 minute it's all there, the next minute it isn't.
Just doesn't exist anymore, mate. Never happened.
Yeah, never happened. Didn't happen. We've always been at war with fucking Eurasia. But look, in this deleted tweet, they said, just to clarify any confusion, Vice CS is not going to be an analyst for the future stages of the Face It Major. And again, I don't know if you can bring that up, Sam. This was just a fun video used in a broadcast that Daniel was kind enough to help film. Right? A fun video used in a broadcast. What's fun about just randomly inserting a player? So David...
Also, why delete it if it's fun?
Yeah, right? David Goover is the name of the account on Reddit. And again, sorry to keep these coming at you, Sam, thick and fast. You'll be earning your pay for this episode. But there's a comment there that in that thread that I've linked to. If you just scroll down, you'll find David Goover. It's on 95 points. And it said, just wanted to add some clarification to this. This video was done as one of the daily openers and not a talent presentation. Okay, so okay, right. Fair enough. I can totally understand why people think that it was, but it wasn't. The video is a spoof on the classic Snatch intro. And when we were shooting, we wanted a player. And Vice thought it sounded fun and agreed to be in a scene. Sorry for the confusion, but it was a fun video at least. I'm David Goover, the one responsible for producing it. So you have all talent, and then without any context or anything else, you just have one player randomly, not even using the player's player name. He's not, or jersey, or having him play, or having him do anything like that, right? And obviously Rogue are out, and... why not at least to contextualize it, have a few other players in the video? And so there's two options here. Either they thought they were going to have Vice make a desk appearance or something, and they filmed it, or even if it was just one sort of fleeting appearance like we did with the Liege at the Major, or they just completely don't even understand how to make content like this and just randomly stuck a player in the middle for no fucking reason. And then on top of that, you compound the confusion by tweeting out as if, you'll see all of these guys on the broadcast tomorrow, tagging in on-air broadcast.
Is Face It some sort of a psyop by Riot Games to destroy every other esport because theirs is ruined? What is going on right now?
No, but think.
Is there some Manchurian candidates being activated?
About the level of incompetence that has gone into that. Think about how fucking much you have to fuck up for this to fucking happen. It is insane. You can't even put a video out on your Twitter account without it causing confusion and weirdness. You have got to fucking get it together. What is happening here? And the thing is as well, I know, like, I just picture the fucking face execs, like, oh, they're like, thank fuck that's over, popping the Alka-Seltzer in their drink. Right, it's all going to be fucking easy sailing from here. Valve have said they're going to put a patch out for the footsteps. We're getting all these games done. We've got the stage show all lined up. The ISPs assured us it's going to be okay. We've replaced all of the equipment. Plink, plink, fizz. I'm just going to comes in. Wales is playing up.
This will cheer you up. We're going to put out this fun little video.
Yeah, I'm just going to put out this fun little video. I'm just going to put out this fun little video with all the talent in. Oh, brilliant. Brilliant. I could use some good times. Who's in it? This is fucking insane. How shit that is. And again, all down the memory hole it goes. James Barloff deletes his tweet. They delete their apology. They delete the original tweet.
By the way, I have a problem with that.
Deletes the fucking.
Like, why is James Bardoff's tweet getting deleted? Like, it's already shocking enough. Faceit deletes their own official explanation, and again, it just doesn't exist anymore. But why is James Bardoff, like, presumably someone's told him to delete that tweet? He tweeted it. He was fine with it. It was nothing outrageous. Why is he being told to delete tweets about a very minor issue? Why do these people still not understand that the internet exists? I know for them the internet didn't exist. It's fucking Face It Major. But are they aware that on the internet you can't delete shit? It exists forever.
Yeah, you may as well embrace it at that point. So it's like, at best, this is a terribly conceived idea for a video, and you've just put a player in there for no reason. It would be, if you don't put him in there, there's no problem with this. So whoever comes up with that is a fucking idiot.
In many ways, Vice is representative of what we will call the panorama gambit, where by putting in a small veto update, they fucked all the matches in every single game for the entire first stage. So likewise, by putting in an as yet unknown CSGO Pro into a video, they fucked the whole video. They had to delete that. HLTV.org had to delete their post. Nomad's going to sue them now for making him delete a post, even though that's probably not even legally possible, but he'll get it done anyway because he likes to threaten lawsuits that he never falls through with. And the whole thing's fucked, and let's never address it.
And as I said, right?
But if Device needs another Twix, tell you what, your boy Mikhail Asani, he'll be right round there with a fucking backpack of them, like the Milky Bar kid. Like, they're all on me, you cunts. But anyway, it's a light move.
Yeah. So the HLTV writer as well, the news writer of the news post, said the reason I put the news out because there's a little bit of criticism you can aim at HLTV. Maybe they jumped the gun. Although I think it's perfectly. It's
they
probably
wrong to be reporting, but they were wrong to delete it, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, they made an assumption, which I think is a reasonable one. And again, all you do is you just leave the post up and you say Vice will not be involved as earlier reported in an edit, and that's that, right? And there's no problems. But the author replied in that chain, and he said the tweet that Faceit put out said. The crew gets back together to bring you the new Legends stage. What's that got to do with Vice? Why is he there? This is stupid. This is ridiculous.
That's why I say it's like a psyop. It's like someone's actively working against them as an agent inside the company, trying to fuck everything up. And then he just goes on to it's obviously got to be a shapeshifter. He obviously just morphs into the next guy. Hello, I'm here to do the video. Oh, no problem. Go on through. They'll never know when I drop this guy in. Like, what is going on? Am I taking crazy pills? What is going on?
Yeah, it's so crazy. I haven't even got into, because there's just not enough time, because we need to talk about the games, obviously. But I haven't even got into just how shit the talent, not the talent, the fucking
Freudian slip.
Yeah, no, Freudian slip. Yeah, I don't think that, guy. Sorry, how shit the content has been.
Yes,
like all this ancillary content you have, right? Like, okay, I'll just do it briefly. So first of all, the opening stingers and all that stuff looks a little bit subpar, but fine, whatever. It's in line with esports. That's fine. Then you had this like just weird stuff like. all of it involving Parler, which, as I said earlier, this is definitely his strength, but conceptually, this is a nightmare. They did this one bit of Bohemian Rhapsody where it was Parler. He was all of the heads, in that famous video they did where the Queen, the four heads, and Parler's all of them with his hair differently in each one, right? Okay, so far so good.
Hilarious. But
he sings badly, and then like the bit is he coughs and he can't sing anymore and says, "Sorry lads, I can't sing, I fucked that up," or whatever. But they obviously didn't have the license to use Bohemian Rhapsody, so they had to sing something that sounded a little bit like it, enough so you would know it, but it couldn't actually be Bohemian Rhapsody. Like, go all out for something like this, you're Queen, Britain, but you're fucking the Major, get the license, costs money, obviously, get it used, and then write a song with the lyrics that are all play on words for Counter-Strike, and then have Parler cough and fuck it up, and it's like, oh, that's a great bit. But instead, they just literally have Parler, like, just sing something ridiculous, like, Counter-Strike is a game. And again, I'm giving it too much justice here because he couldn't actually, legally, he couldn't sing as if it was actually Bohemian Rhapsody, so it was slightly off. And then he just coughs and that's it. And I'm like, what is this? What is this? And then for all of the fucking intros, they just took the players and had them walk around Wembley Stadium. All of them. All of the intros are the same. It's like you walk around Wembley Stadium, we do a tracking cam, you do the hands all round like you're the fucking Musketeers. Yay! The power of friendship, Captain Planet, right? They're all doing that. And there's like, and in fact, it's all the same shots, just with different. It's like, guys, this is like literally something like DreamHack would do to cut corners. This is like when they send Parler out with Shocks on a wine tasting evening. But what really happens is they get a bottle of wine and sit in public and drink it together because that's all they can afford. This is the Major. So yeah, okay, they're all my pet peeves. I don't know if you have anything to add.
The sad thing is as well, like, because they had that fun vibe that they always tried to sell as part of the Face It vibe. Like, actually, if people remember, one of the events I did do for Face It was the first ever. Like, the problem here, it's obviously they've had a bunch of different rebrands of the league, but that one that was like Face It Stage 1, which was in like, I don't know, like May of 2015, the one that, if you remember.
Sorry, it was Twickenham. Sorry, it's Twickenham. Just everyone, just Twickenham. You don't even know Britain anymore. Mate, fuck that shithole country anyway. I'm out. Right, anyway,
so when I did that event, if people might remember, that's the one where most of the most outrageous things I did was where it was like I was talking about like horse cocks and all sorts of it. That's because at that event, James Bardolph even told me, I want you to just go all out, just go full banter, like let's make it fun, which obviously is a clever way to have a different vibe to your tournament than other ones. So the weird thing about them being so off on that one is usually that's the stuff you'd think they'd be good at,
Yeah,
and I would have thought there'd be more. I thought there'd be like some funny skit with DDK or something,
Nah, there's been nothing. There's been no effort put into any of the content. I think between...
This does look like there's some mad amount of margin squeezing, but on every single level.
Yeah. And look, we all know that goes on for something like the Major.
And I'm not talking just about some of the fucking day rates that have been pushed down for the casters. I didn't say that, did I?
No, I wasn't going to bring that up. We can't really talk about that.
We never would. It was just a harmless joke. So it was just for fun, and we're going to delete it. Just in tribute for Face It.
Yeah, actually, yeah, you're right. We're just going to delete that.
Because the thing is, if we don't, we'll end up with egg all over our face, but only one.
Yeah, but only one egg. Yeah, exactly. One egg each, and then we're all out of eggs. Sorry, guys. Got to fucking squeeze as much as we can out of this. It's been ridiculous, mate. I have like, if this was a general esports event, I'd be disappointed. Do you know what I mean? Let alone this is the fucking Major. This is the historic UK Major.
Imagine if everyone who's watching now, right? Obviously, I know you like Face It, you like DDK, you like Bardolph.
Yeah, we like those guys.
Vibe. So obviously, you've got an emotional connection. That's not about logic; it's about emotion. You like them, right? So you don't want it to be true that they're fucking up. So just imagine this for a second. Imagine this was Riot Games at their League of Legends World Championship, and you heard about all this stuff going on. You'd fucking tear them up. So just imagine the same scenario. Why wouldn't we? It's ridiculous, isn't it? Some of this stuff, like what's mad is like some of the examples we've given here weren't even the big topics. It's the same thing as what they did before the major started. They were fucking up on tiny things. And it's like, even the way you dealt with it was half the problem, like you can kill most problems immediately. If you come out, you say, listen, we've messed that up. We're looking into it. We apologize to like you can fix so many problems with a bit of goodwill, if you know what I mean. Like you just come out and you own up and people can forgive.
Well, in Faceit's case, I think they've got so used to fucking never having to do that anymore that they just, fuck it, we'll just dizzle our way through week one. And here's the other thing as well. Just to put a nice little, it's not even a fucking olive branch, is it? At this point, just shit on them for an hour. But you know what I mean?
Just beat them with a smaller stick.
Yeah, right. Just to put it out there. Obviously, Krakow had a fuck ton of problems. When we did E-League Boston, we had a 2-hour fill-in outage when the ISP went out in the stadium. So not the only major to have problems, and nobody judges you on what you do in the first week. It's all about what you do when you get to the stadium and you get later into the tournament.
This used to be our mantra when we were at the event. What would happen is you'd have some tournament organizer doing a 3-day event, and the first day has gone so badly, he's on like suicide watch, and you'd just be saying to him, look, as long as you get it right for the playoffs, as long as they're good, everyone will forget. That's the mantra, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's always the mantra when you're at an event and it's going bad. You're like, as long as we get to those sick playoff games. Right, okay, so let's talk about some teams. I've got some names written down here. I just want to talk in generalities rather than like specific results, talk about like storylines and things that have happened and who went through and who went out and what's a surprise and what isn't. So let's talk about the first name I got on the list. Can we skip Virtus Pro? I mean, there's nothing to talk about.
Of course. That is literally beating a dead polar bear to death again.
Yeah, I can't be asked. Like, I just can't do it anymore. I really can't.
You have to realize it's been a year of chores at this point in time.
The only thing I will say is I did tweet it out. That fucking picture of Cube like with his head in his hands behind him is fucking brilliant. Yeah. In the middle of a game, active game, it's still possible to win. He's just like, fucking why am I doing this? I was like, imagine how your fans feel, mate. You're the one who's meant to have the fucking answers. It's fucking unreal this time. There's a lot of rumors going around that VP are going to cut all of these polls now, because I saw there was like a fucking news announcement today on Reddit that Morels is going to be the solution. If he's the fucking answer.
I know.
Yeah.
If he's the cure, what the fuck was the disease?
Yeah, no, mate. How was it worse? Like fucking... But it is the thing, though. Obviously, when you say that, what that means is we've got some commitments we need to get through, because he's going to be the one that helps us fulfill the commitments. I believe the rumors I've heard, which is they're cutting all of the polls, and they're going to get this CIS. They want to build a CIS super team and go back to what VP is.
A lot of players you could do that with. Think about the Gambit players, Hellraisers players. There's a lot, but you could fucking make a sick team with.
Yeah, sure. Especially as which we'll get to. There's that rumor that obviously, well, it's not even a rumor. Gambit are dropping their team. I think one of the players has tweeted out now.
Mo or something. I think.
Yeah, I think Mo said
about GG thanks or whatever.
Yeah, so so that's definitely happening. So I agree with that. I think they should get back to fucking what they know. But just while we're here as well, because obviously it is a general Counter-Strike podcast, this is the major edition. Had to fucking laugh. Epicenter extend wildcard invitation.
I love it.
To Virtus Pro. Like, are you fucking having a laugh? Are you having a laugh?
What I appreciate about them though, Rich, is that they don't give a fuck. They never crack. Like, the character never breaks. So they really are just like, you're in some mad totalitarian regime where it's like, we will be allowing this team with the prince of our country who plays. Oh, what's that? They failed the qualifier. The lucky random wild card has drawn his team to play there, and his loyal subjects eagerly await his arrival. Like, come on, man. We all know what the score is on that. We don't need to say it, do you?
I'm trying to think. Was it episode? I think it was another ES Force one where they did it for like, they were like, and now a public vote, and it was for like a Dota tournament, and it was like one of the teams was like Na'Vi, and then the other three were like, Movi Stars from Spain. It's just like, well, fucking just invite them, mate. Go on, no one's gonna kill you. Just fucking do it. You do what the fuck you want.
Come on.
Yeah. But yeah, so they crashed and fucking burned. They looked awful every goddamn second. Oh, here's one thing I definitely want to talk about, Sam. I don't know if you're able to find the tweet, but if you can, it's fucking hilarious. I have never seen. It was reminiscent of the Seas standing in for Flipside thing. Bialy pieced out so fucking fast, like literally, fucking. They were still unplugging their fucking mouse and everything, and Bialy went straight to the fucking, fucking Twitter account and just immediately fucking said like, "Yep, bye." He literally just said bye and then tagged all his teammates in. He may as well have had that FNS picture with the shades on, like, fucking see you later, boys. He was so could not be fucking.
He's not even a big tweeter either, if you've ever seen him. Snacks famously
not.
are guys that didn't really tweet much. I mean, Snacks obviously less, but exactly. Just instantly out the door. He's like, is that all my Cuban? Is that all I have to do? Right. Anyway, I won't even be taking the same flight. I'm off now. Actually, I've got the next in 2 hours, so I'll see you anyway.
He's been playing with some of these guys for what, like almost 4 fucking years. Bye. Like, and just before this, coming into the major, I don't know if you saw that fucking those leaked Skype logs where it was him and Snacks were talking. Bialy and Snacks, obviously they're still pals, and they were talking, and basically in it they said like they were talking about how shit it is. Like he was like, oh, we haven't been. I think Bialy said we haven't been practicing much because some of the older guys have weddings to go to. And then Snacks was like, lol, but if my parents were fucking dying, I'd still have to turn up to practice on time. So it underscored pretty much what we were talking about how there's a clear hierarchy in that team, and the older guys got away with fucking,
hopefully hyperbole is in there.
Yeah, but I mean, I thought that was fucking hilarious as well, because it's like it confirms everything we kind of knew about the team, that the new guys that came in never quite had the same authority or influence over the team that the older guys did, and that was obviously over time that's going to wear you the fuck down. That's
also why actually there was comments where I saw that guy Grobby from AGO said that he turned down an offer to join VP, and apparently the vibe in the Polish community basically is like what you're saying. Like, people know you're not joining Virtus Pro to make it the glorious Virtus Pro again and play there for years. People know it's winding down, so why am I going to join them now if they're going to when they lose the team? I'm not going to stick with like Neo and people who are doing badly, am I? So why leave? Just wait.
Meanwhile, Kingwin just went and made it to the final of Zotac, and then fucking just won DreamHack Montreal. So,
yes.
Like I say, Virtus Pro not even the best team in fucking Poland anymore. Which is embarrassing, frankly, but it is what it is. So yeah, I thought that was hilarious. Like, Bialy just immediately peacing out. He was so fucking done with it. So a few rumors floating around. I think PHR intimated that maybe Bialy might go to Mouse Sports, and they'd replace.
That was a rumor that had been heard behind. Like, if you notice, that's one of the reasons I've been so vitriolic to Mouse Sports over the last few months, because I knew, like. Here's the thing, it hasn't come out yet, so you'll have to find out who they want to kick. But when you find out who they want to kick and replace a Bialy, that is a team that is fucking out of control because of some of the young guys who have power in that team.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say this: if the replacement was Sonny that was like going to go out, it's like, nah, fuck that. Like, you got to keep Sonny in Mouse Sports for me. I think even if you look at this, like, just again, if you just go on HLTV stats, I think statistically over the last 3 months he's like the best fucking performer.
I would think so, yeah.
Yeah, so the idea that you would replace, sure, Bialy and Snacks might get their old fucking symbiosis back, like fucking Venom or whatever, and it might be sick. But yeah, also as well, like, Sonny can't be the guy on the chopping block, and not for me anyway. So anyway, we'll move on. So here's the next name on the list right there. Next name, Rogue. There you go. Pleasantly surprised by Rogue. I know they didn't make it through to the later stages and actually went out with 1-3, but you got to say, the nature of their defeats, there was an element of choking involved, honestly, which I didn't think I'd sort of be saying while talking about this team. They had, I guess they kind of killed it when they lost to Spirit. And I think a lot of teams got caught cold. You know what it's like. You got this weird fucking random CIS style of play. I mean, this is a phenomenon that goes back to 1.6 that mainstream European teams have come up against like a random CIS team, and they were just like, I don't know what this is. I don't know how to even play against this. It's just hyper.
For anyone who doesn't know, like there was once a tournament. The thing is, you'd have to go and get like Lurpace, I think maybe his brother, but like they took like a team where I think it might have been a mixed team, but it was all like top Finnish players, and they went to one of the old school tournaments, which I think was actually at the Cyber Arena, one of these like Asus or something, one of those one lands, right? But it was one of these tournaments where it was an open, so it literally had like 64 teams, and I remember going like, right, I'll wait till it gets to the playoffs to watch this. And they went out in like group stage 2 or something to like teams that you have never heard of. Like that's how, because the thing is, what people don't know is there's mad talent in the area. There's fucking insane aimers. Think how many people play Counter-Strike there. Just the problem is, it's just random. So if you hit the wrong random at the wrong time or the right time for them, you get busted out. It's a best of one.
Think about how good the Imperial have been lately, and they had a qualifier for an event. I can't remember which one it was. It was one of the lesser ones on the calendar, but the Imperial, I think they got beat by 2 Russian teams. Like Forza was one of them. I remember that name from obviously way back in the day.
Cool.
But think about how good the Imperial are, and all these young and upcoming players that are like fucking playing lights out, including like fucking Nexa, who was deemed not good enough for Renegades, which is fucking hilarious in retrospect, given how shit Renegades are, which we'll get to. Like fucking. You know what I mean? Like they just have this weird random style. So I think that just caught Rogue a little bit off guard. But the key thing to take away is the Space Soldiers game is neither here nor there. I want to give a special shout out to Hardstyle for 2 reasons. First of all, I think Hardstyle's like the same age as me, and he doesn't play, and he's been plunged into playing a major because of the issues that Space Soldiers had, and that definitely deserves some respect. It's not easy to put yourself in that position, because obviously you're going to be well below that professional standard. And second of all, it's always good when a coach steps in for the team to help his team out in terrible circumstances. And you'd have to be a real pussy to not do that, wouldn't you? So I can't think of anyone in recent memory. I can't think of anyone.
A real pussy or just a fucking swinging dick who doesn't know what's good for him.
Yeah.
Not taking a swipe at anyone, right? Not bad. Not bad.
Yeah, that was pretty good, actually. For coming up without the spot, that was pretty good.
Wasn't bad.
So yeah, you would have to be a bit of a jerk. But anyway, the thing for Rogue was they had the chance to beat the 2 top Danish teams. They choked against Astralis. There's no doubt about that. They absolutely did. They had 2 rounds where last second plans pretty much fucking killed them. And then obviously in North they had multiple overtimes. I think it was 2. It might have been 3. I can't remember now. But in North edged it in the end. And this was a terrible North at this event. So I felt a little bit sorry for Rogue. I think what I was really impressed with, I thought Vice and Sick both had their moments. This was almost like a coming out for them. Obviously, Vice coming out as talent at the event, and Sick kind of living up to that billing when he kind of got lost a little bit when he was at that TSM lineup. He was going to be like one of the next like young NA talents coming through. I think they can feel very good about the way they performed. Real story for me is Cadian. I felt desperately sorry for him. Obviously, and again, we talked about this on the alternate stream. It was in the fucking wilderness. Like Rogue kind of felt like a last chance saloon for him. People didn't think he could play. People didn't think he was serious anymore. We were joking about it on the stream. I was saying like, how Juliana Gate fucked him up. People like just put a little bit of fun out saying, you lost in a name map after trash talking a girl and saying you were going to beat her and she beat you. And obviously that took up, it went fucking viral. It was like a trending tweet. And he's had a lot of fucking grief from the community for that, for other reasons. Obviously, always been shunned by the Danish scene for, again, just childish reasons. But that, there's a lot of that in Denmark. But he played so fucking well.
And he's the in-game leader as well. That's just the nuts thing, right?
He played.
It just shows how it's in the blood if you're Danish, because you have to play in so many of these teams, don't you?
Yeah, he played so fucking well. My heart broke for him. I think out of all the people I actually felt sorry for at this event, apart from Pasha not getting his eggs, obviously, Cadian was the one I think I felt the most sorry for, because he played so fucking well. Just didn't deserve to be on the losing side. So the question to you, Duncan, is Rogue, sure, they go out 1-3. Doesn't tell the whole fucking story, in my opinion. I think they were a real surprise. Got the veteran smart Tahiko in there, got Cadian in there playing well, got some good young kids. Is this like one of those things where it's like the event kind of just gave them that extra pump up and they caught some teams on some bad days because Astralis have looked mortal, or do Rogue actually have a future? Can they build on this?
Well, I mean, this is a team where, if people remember, they finished second in one of those DreamHack tournaments where they were ahead of some teams that you would know. Then they obviously went to the America Minor. They were second there, ahead of NRG. Sure, they didn't play NRG in a best of three and beat them, but they didn't have to because other people had already done that for them. So they've had some half-decent results. Like, you have to say, they look like a team that's, I wouldn't say rising because I don't know where the ceiling is. Like, I don't really feel like you can go too much higher, but they've certainly been better than you'd expect. And yeah, as you say, when you look down the roster, it's not bad, actually. It's not a bad roster. Every time I look at it, I go, that's actually better than I'm thinking when I think of the name Rogue, and I think of some of these players. They've got a few players that are decent here. So I think just a roster move or something, like maybe one player that could be enough. Maybe even get an in-game leader if you can, take the weight off Cady and just have him be a player, have him be your star AWPer. I think there's something to this team, and it's got some quality, put it that way, especially in a world where you look at teams like Virtus.pro, Renegades, that are just a waste of everyone's, that Optic, just wasting everyone's motherfucking time.
Yeah. So just while we've been talking about this, I don't want to...
Saw that, did you?
Yeah, I don't want to bring it up almost in a way, but it's
every now and then.
It just underlines how fucking embarrassing it all is. So
they're all Face It through and through. So
yeah, so we were criticizing Face It, obviously. I'm sure I don't know if you guys caught that bit where we were criticizing what is the worst run major to date. How dare we? But there was the Clem Murphy guy who I said sounded like a character from Red Dead Redemption. I think the one who digs through all the graves to find the treasure maps. He put a tweet out saying, it is sad that some of esports' most visible journalists spend so much time punching down. I mean, am I on stilts?
I've never understood that term, to be honest.
Well, we'll save that for another day. But I'm pretty sure that you are a tournament organizer who is very profitable, has a big pugging platform, has a very big presence across multiple games, and has been assigned by Valve to run the major. You're in a position of power over me and Duncan, as evidenced by the fact that you didn't hire either of us and even felt comfortable trying to tell us that we shouldn't criticize you on our fucking podcast, and that you were going to look at what we were saying very carefully to make sure we had our facts right. Hint, hint. How are we punching down? Where's the down, you stupid cunt?
He's trying to pull the card of like, I'm just a little guy helping out. No, as I just mentioned earlier, you are verified on Reddit as Face It Marketing. You represent Face It when you speak publicly on Reddit, because that's what your tag is. Remove your flair if you don't want that to be the case, because you can do that on Reddit, by the way. You are using that flair, and as I mentioned, it is not Michaela Atisani going out replying on Reddit. It's not Face It Mikey going out on Reddit. It is you standing in the place of Face It, a massive $1 million company who has all this power and is now running the world championship of Counter-Strike, and your logic is we aren't allowed to comment about you literally lying about what me and Richard know and what our sources are and what's going on in the tournament. Like, you don't, by the way, I'm going to go ahead and say this, Clown, you definitely didn't speak to higher up people in Face It and get like the go ahead on some of that info. You just pulled the trigger because you thought, you know what, I can clean up this problem by telling everyone nothing to see here, folks, everything's fine, they're just making comments or whatever. Like, watch out. Just watch yourself, son.
Well, I mean, based on some of the announcements they're about to make, I mean, I guess he's going to be real fucking busy. So,
he's probably going to be fucking cast in the final anyway. The easy ones are the best ones, aren't they?
Now, sometimes, though, yeah, you've got to enjoy it, haven't you? You've got to enjoy it. Punching down. What a fucking idiot. What's he talking about, punching down? You literally hold dominion over our fucking careers. What are you talking about? Yeah, fuck me, punching down. Jesus Christ. All right, anyway, back to the games. You see, we had a nice little delay there talking about the games, much like the fucking event had a nice little delay to running every single one of them. Gambit. It's over for Gambit. We're disappointing here. I didn't have any great enthusiasm for them. I had a feeling that there would be some changes coming. I'd sort of speculated that I think it's probably time for Doja to retire and just be one of those, like, embrace the meme streamers, and embrace, that whole ex-god thing. He'll make a ton of money off that just as it is. But there's so many problems in this team. It all seems to stem from leadership, inconsistency, and ever since they've won the major, they have just been in this sort of downward trajectory. And then they went out, at the same stage as Rogue and Renegades, and it was announced that we're actually going to get rid of this team. Now, I don't think it was stated whether or not Gambit will have another team. Gambit are a weird organization like that. Registered in the UK. Nobody really knows where the money comes from, who they are. It's all cloaked in secrecy. But certainly there's a lot of good players on that side that I think are going to find very good homes. And you know what? I still think Adrian's got something to give. I still think Hobbit's obviously got something to give. They just signed,
obviously, yeah.
I still think they just signed Mir, so bit of a strange one. I think maybe Mo, probably doesn't ever play at a level commensurate to that again. He's too inconsistent for me.
And people have to realise, like, off the top of my head, I think Moore's like 25 or something, I'd have to look it up, but he's not a young guy, It's not the same as like a Hobbit. Think how young someone like Hobbit is. Mir, obviously, these are people who are newer to the scene.
Yeah, and look, and I said it before, I think Doshi's been fucking subpar for a while, dude. I think he's another one of those players.
It's just the meme that's kept him going.
Yeah,
and win the major, obviously.
No, but think about it. You know how it is, right? You won the fucking major. Good job. You had that 200 IQ nade that you definitely did not know to do. You're married now. I mean, you're getting on. Was he 30? I mean,
he's got to be pretty old. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like, listen, you will still have a great level. You will always be the fucking sex god. But I'd just call it a fucking day now. Knock out some kids, and just fucking live the rest of your life. You've made a great fucking contribution to Counter-Strike. You've made a fucking fortune probably along the way, and you can still continue to make money just off your reputation. Don't do what so many before you have done. I saw your video about this too. Go out when you're still relatively on top. Do not fucking play for another 2 years on a bunch of dog shit lineups no one's going to remember. Just go out now, bow out. That's what you need to do. But the question I was going to say was,
it's like what you said about Neo ages ago. If you're Dossier, you can even do it a cynical but smart way. And while you still have hype around your name and value of saying I was a major winner a year ago, what you do is you go to one of these new orgs that want to get involved, a new investor, and you say, make an org that is based around my name or my persona, and then I get a percentage of it. And you know what? You don't even have to run it, but you're just like part of the branding. While they're on the way up, while people don't know the players, it's your team, it's your branding. That would be a pretty cool way to potentially one day have a pretty sick little chunk of change from esports without having to play in 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, and like I say, I think there's enough. I don't know if they will still want to play together. It's not very clear, but I think the core of this team could go somewhere. If VP are keen on making a CIS super team, this is what you start with: the scraps from this team. Of course, you get a Hobbit immediately. I mean, you of course you do. I think Mim is a difficult situation for him. He's underwhelmed me a little bit.
I don't feel as though they gave him a proper run though.
No, but that's
should have had like a.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Look, before they signed me, I said Chopper was the better player anyway to go and get. But whatever. But they got Mir. Mir's sick. I think he's got a lot of potential. I agree. I think he come into a weird situation and played in a team that has no real structure. And like you say, he's never been given a starring role. And then obviously Adren, if you want, maybe it is time for him to hang up his boots, hang up his mouse. I don't know, but I think he can still go as well, actually. So, I mean, that would be a good fucking start. And then if you take a couple of maybe some of these unproven hot talent, maybe you go get Chopper from Vega, put him on, go get somebody else. Let's not forget I'm sure the Windstrike players, once they crap out of this major, because, Windstrike sent the team to TI, and then sent a team to the major, and then that's probably going to be it, right?
Yes.
I've seen organizations do this before. So, there might be some players available there. But yeah, not really surprised they didn't do too well. Renegades, for me, the worst team at this event, I think. Perhaps that is most underlined by, obviously, Space Soldiers and Virtus Pro, sure. right? They went 0-3. Space Holders mitigating circumstances. Virtus Pro were just a clusterfuck. I think if Virtus Pro had played Renegades, VP would have won. I mean, you have to understand, Renegades were playing so fucking bad. Hardstyle got into double figures against them. Do you know what I mean? It was awful. It was really bad watching them play. There was a round when Renegades were playing against Tai Lu, and it was a 2v1. Somebody's on the T side. That's his name. I feel like we're going to do the Abbott and Costello bit. Somebody's on the fucking T side, plants the bomb, runs down banana. The two CTs come from CT spawn, rotate on, and somebody goes all the fucking way round. All the way round into CT spawn on this long fucking rotate. The Renegades guys are checking every nook, every cranny, looking for him. Know what, right? They don't have a kit. Okay, so somebody comes, fucks up the spray, doesn't get the kill, and they haven't even got someone on the defuse in time, and somebody still wins that round. It is one of the worst rounds of professional Counter-Strike I've seen played at a major outside of that god-awful Flipside Mouse Sports game.
What's hilarious, though?
Oh, hilarious. Yeah, brilliant. Straight fucking fire.
Some straight Benny Hill level shit.
Cracking entertainment. But the reality is, Renegades were just fucking diabolical. And I think what I see coming out of this is, what is this? Is this like the 7th attempt? Right? They keep the Aussies on, so they go through the Asian qualifier, where the only team they're really going to come up against is Tai Lu. And that's going to fucking change, by the way, guys. It's not going to be...
later, China will figure out a second lineup, I guarantee you.
And
just the Koreans.
Yeah. I'm telling you, yeah. Asia's going to be one of the next emerging regions, for the start of 2019. There's going to be players there, you're holding on to these substandard, subpar Australians because you can go through this super easy qualifier. Well, who does that really benefit? Who does that benefit? Sure, you get to the major and then you just crash out again and again and again and again. And in this one, you look terrible. It wasn't like there was close games. People were like, wow, Renegades were real close that time. You play against soft opposition. You come into the event weak as a result of it. The experiment's just failed. I understand why the Renegades owners wanted to be loyal to the Australians and keep them on, because of everything they've done for the branding. But at this point, if you keep them on for the next major, just so you can come to the Asian, you're basically saying we have no ambitions to win. And I don't believe that. I don't believe that of the owners. I know Jonas Urebko. I think what the start is, Ryu coming on board, is Ryu and Nifty are going to build an NA team for Renegades. Keep in mind as well, it's like Overwatch with the fucked up regionality. They're the former LA, now Detroit Renegades, with a team from Australia who qualify in Asia. What the fuck is this? So I think that's got to be the end of the Aussies. I mean, the truth is, love the guys. Even JKS is bad now. You wouldn't even say these guys could fit into an NA lineup.
Well, the sad thing is, like I was talking about this when Moses on Counterpoints, it's like there's also no one left who wants them. Like the sad thing is, there was I think it was about a year and a half ago, where there were teams in NA asking for these people. We're talking about the caliber of the Team Liquids of the world, inquiring as to whether Azza or JKS, these were players people were actually talking about, maybe we can get this guy in our lineup. And quite frankly, if you go through, I've now talked to people I've talked to people who were in the team before it was Renegades, during Renegades, after Sponge left, later on with coaches, etc., because I've had all these different people, that one of the only themes that goes through all of these people is that, like, the atmosphere in the team is always like, people are quiet and it's a lot of people who are unassuming, and it's like, if you look at the way they play, that absolutely translates into the server, like these could all individually be good players for all I know. If you go and put them on different teams so they're not the one like seeping into the culture, maybe they turn it all around. I mean, think of Ricky when he went to CLG, everything turned around instantly for that guy. But collectively, that 3 players, come on, man, the experiment's been run for way too long now. It's time to pull the plug. Yeah, for sure. And there's people in the chat. Who's this guy? Han Solos says, what the fuck has Ryu done? And saying that Ryu's shit. Let me tell you, see, because
you don't know stuff like this. Probably you probably just got into the game like a year ago or something. Ryu actually was able to make Selfless look like a very good NA team, and he actually made Kusta look like the best AWPer in NA by micromanaging him. And the minute Kusta left that thing and went to Team Liquid, he was fucked. And it ruined his whole career because he didn't have his fucking guy in his ear micromanaging him, which is exactly what Ryu did. In fact, in terms of spotting young talent and helping develop young talent, Ryu has probably done more in NA than almost anyone else.
If you like that player Nifty for Renegades, shut the fuck up about who is Ryu. Because how can you hold those two thoughts in you? But there would be no Nifty in Renegades.
So, I mean, let me tell another story as well. Who the fuck is Ryu? Well, Ryu was a guy who, when he was coaching Selfless, they played against a player called Breezy. And loads of people had all these clips, Vaxuk style of Breezy supposedly cheating against them. And Ryu watched them on stream. And Ryu said, yeah, that looks like cheats to me. I think this kid cheated against us. It's ridiculous. Then, down the road, when Selfless had cycled some players out, he thought, fuck it, we're going to pick up Breezy. He publicly apologized for what he'd said. And then he worked with Breezy. And now Breezy's straight body and fills an NRG. So this is what Ryu's done. He's got a proven track record of developing young NA talent. You fucking clown! Don't come at the chat with your half-assed opinions. So anyway, yeah. I don't know. I don't like to say. I think Renegades are done. I think if you're serious about rebuilding, you have Ryu and Nifty, and you get some young guns from NA, and you basically fucking build an NA team. It's something that can call itself fucking Detroit. That's
especially because, by the way, it's not like I know we pointed out because NRG didn't make it. There is some competition at the NA minor now, but actually, I know Cloud9's obviously going to go down a phase, but Team Liquid's going to be a legit team for a long while. The NA, it's not like the NA minor is impossible to get out of. You don't have to have a godlike team to have a chance. So it does feel like taking the easy road out, just keeping the Australians just to play the Asia minor. Like, what the fuck's that shit?
Yeah, no, it's whack as fuck, dude.
And logically, if you can do that absolute bullshit that Hellraisers does, where you have 2 players from the region, why not just keep 2 Australians and make sure you don't have 3 from one region? Just get a player from the UK. There we go.
Yeah.
And pick to play Asia minor anyway. Just abuse the system entirely, like a corrupt little fuck, like TSM having Bjergsen and Sven and Mithy all at the same time in a region where you can only have 2 imports. Because apparently, again, I'm just in some mad doublespeak world where a boy from Denmark is actually North American now.
He's a good old local. What the fuck are you talking about? So let's talk about North. Next name on the list. They were absolutely fucking awful here. I mean, I when I was making my predictions as they were evolving, right? I couldn't back North for anything. But before this, I didn't expect this, especially coming off that DreamHack Stockholm win, right? Yes. You think finally, they're ready. They beat Astralis twice.
As well, Rich. Like I say, the last match is a best of 3. You know what? If they go out and it's like they play 5 best of 1s and they just get unlucky and a lot of them are 16-14, I could make an argument for them. You lost a heads-up best of 3 on LAN against Vegas Squadron. I'm sorry, that doesn't cut the mustard. That alone, that's what I loved about it, because you know what? I would be one of the people who'd say, Vegas Squadron just got in best of 1s. They won a best of 3, mate. Yeah. What can you do? You have to tip the hat.
2-0. So North came here off the back of a DreamHack Stockholm win. They lost to Hellraisers. I'm all right with that. I think in a best of 1, Hellraisers can nick maps off anybody. If Woxic and this go off, you're gonna have a bad day. But then you get team spirit. So it's like, well, this is free. Nope. You lose to them. Fortunately, fate smiled upon you, MSL. You don't even realize it. You got Virtus Pro next. Well, that's a free win. Not even North can conspire to fuck that up. So they beat Virtus Pro. Then they get Rogue. You're like, fucking... the lifeline has been delivered, right? Rogue should have beat them. There was a couple of rounds where Rogue made some fucking very impactful mistakes. This should have been done in overtime. North scraped through 25-23. And then you get, out of all the teams that are left in for the 0 and 2 games, because they can't play Spirit again because of how it works.
You get the best draw.
Yeah. So you swerve Tyloo, you swerve Big, and you swerve Optic, and you get Vegas Squadron. right? And you lose 2-0. And you look clowny as fuck while you're doing it. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a team go from, glory to fucking tears like that. So fucking easy, so quick. Literally, it's not like there was a month between. There was shit that could have gone. You came from DreamHack Stockholm to the fucking major on fire, fucking beating Astralis in best of threes, legit fucking beating the best team in the world, and you play the type of team you should be expected to put to bed, and they just played awful. And I'm at a loss to explain it.
Well, it's like you say, Rich. Here's the key detail that people might miss, because one of the problems with the Swiss system, especially in a world where we're still using seeding based on last major and then unseeded beyond that, etc. The problem with that system is there have been times where teams went out and they played all the good teams, and there have been teams that I went through that played all the fucking bums. It's happened before. That is not what happened. Remember, this is a field that had Team Liquid, Astralis, Ninjas in Pajamas, Big. These are like teams, like some of them very good, some of them were quality, some of them were veterans. No, these aren't the teams you're losing to. You got, like, if I go to MSL before the tournament and tell him, right, these are the 5 teams you can play: Hellraisers, Spirit, Virtus Pro, Rogue, and Vega Squadron. Do you make it through? 100%. He instantly takes that deal right there and then, because that is like all you have to do is win 3 out of 5 of those. Come on, what excuse do you have after that? Except for the PCs being shit, obviously.
Well, so I mean, look, we'll just talk a little bit about, like, what do you have any insight as to why it might be? I mean, I can't. Well,
I will say this. Okay, like if you want to look at, there's 3 results I think I can give you like a theme for. So I would go for those ones with Vega Squadron and Spirit are 2 teams that, like, MSL's not going to have prep for, because even if you watch their demos recently, they're not playing you. They're not playing a real team. Sure. So it's really hard to figure them out. And of those 2 teams, Vega Squadron famously play this mad aggro style that, like, basically is unique to them. I've talked to players who played them and they said, like, oh, right, how did he figure out what to do? And they basically said they don't. It just feels random, and you try to kill them and hope you win. Like, it's a very chaotic match. So that is, if anything, suited to play a team like North, because North's trying to do all this tactical shit and play, like, system-based Counter-Strike and do all these things that to some degree can be predictable unless you execute them. Then the other one is the Hellraisers one, and as you said, if Isra walks it go ham, you can lose a best of 1. So those ones I could give you a vague theme for. Like, still doesn't excuse losing a best of 3 to Vega, though. Still, you should get at least. Remember, you only had to win 1 of these 3 games and you get through. Like, what? You can't beat Spirit on Nuke. Come on, like, what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind as well, like, that Vega. I don't know if you've seen Chopper play in this fucking major, mate. He's lights out, man. He is fucking off the fucking chain. How well he's been playing. But look, I just knew there was something rotten about the DreamHack Stockholm win. I knew it was mental. I did a preview. I put it up on YouTube and I said, listen, I can't back North ever. There's something not right about them. The balance still isn't there yet, right? They've got Valda, who is fucking still one of the best players in the world, for my opinion. If we're talking versatility and being a complete player, Valda's right up there for me. They've got AZ, right, who's back on form. He's had fucking 100 events where he played shit, but he's turned the corner. And then now we're starting to get a little bit fucking thin on the ground for real quality. Kiebi, I don't know. I think he's lost his way a little bit. Nico, still an unproven project for me. And you just saw the headlines coming out of DreamHack Stockholm. They've beaten Astralis, MSL MVP. Orping MSL MVP. Again, I thought I had a fucking nitrogen bubble in my brain. It's so far-fetched. It's like DreamHack Stockholm was actually the fucking tournament of the lifetime. It's like everybody else was in on an elaborate prank. You know what I mean? To fuck with MSL before the major. None of it makes any sense. That event is one of the wildest things I've ever seen. And then you come to the major and this is reality. This is what North are. This is the North that existed before fucking Stockholm, and this is the North that we all know and love. You know? So I don't even know. I don't even know if I should be surprised. I almost think you wouldn't be surprised if he took DreamHack Stockholm out. I don't know if you agree.
The thing is, this is a team where, like, as I mentioned before, they've been to some of those smaller tournaments. They've had losses against teams in best of ones that were tier 2, tier 3, with these terms that are thrown around, meaning they're not top teams. The funny thing about North is, because they're trying to play proper Counter-Strike, they're actually better suited to play the better teams. Like, they're going to lose a lot of those games because those teams are better and have better players, but they're the sort of team where it's like that famous thing of, like, the greatest swordsman doesn't fear the second greatest. He fears the man who's never held a sword before. That's like, if you're North, if you play Astralis, it's going to be a good game because they know how to play, you know how to play. You study their demos, they study yours. You both play the way it makes sense. You both do the correct things. If they have better players, maybe they win the game. But you know what? You feel like, right, I had a sense on what was going on there. When you're playing these teams that are just ragtags of players that don't play together, or they're from a region where no one ever plays them, or they're a squad where they just have one guy that might go ham, you can lose games all day if you're North in that scenario. So I think they're better than they showed here. I think it was massively unreasonable to expect the DreamHack Stockholm level, though. That's an example. The Stockholm North team run is why you don't use results in terms of, like, forget everything. What happened at the last event is how good you are, because you will be tossed around in the wind like a fucking leaf if that's the case. You will never have any, like, grasp on the scene, because there's teams out there where we'll get criticised when the team does well. A great example would be ESL Cologne. Remember, the two teams I put in my 3 teams that had no chance was Ents and Big. Now, you know what? Y'all ain't loving Ents and Big anymore, are you? Where's Ents and Big at now? Where are they killing the game? Ents has done fuck all with all the opportunities put before them. Haven't done anything special. Lost to a number of teams that are much worse than them in theory based on that run. Where they were beating big names at Mouse Sports, etc. Big, they fucking crept through this thing. They had their problems here. They weren't looking like the world beaters who beat FaZe in a best of 3. So the point I'm making is, until those teams show me a consistency, or more importantly, like, reasons as to why they're better, I don't buy into the hype of doing good at one event, It's like, that's one thing that'll last you a long time in this business. You get a sense for teams, you get a sense for what makes sense, what's logical about the team and what works. And when something happens, like MSL's the MVP and is out open Oscar, Simple and Device, you go ahead and you go, I'm going to short this stock all the way down and I'm now rich. And you thought Bitcoin was going to go to 40,000. Unlucky.
Yeah. Unfucking lucky. That's North in a nutshell. It's fucking Bitcoin. It's going to have these weird little fucking manipulated spikes, but generally it's absolute fucking, it's never going to live up to expectations. It's never going to be worth what you think it is. So MSL put out some great tweets. Immediately went out the major and said, honestly, the worst major I ever attended. Stop punching down.
I know. It's just MSL. A little company. It's a little indie company called Face It,
Yeah. Stop punching down, MSL. Honestly, the worst major I've ever attended. Bad FPS for the whole tournament. Bad headset first 2 rounds. Can't hear footsteps of teammates and opponents. Using 20 minutes in a deciding game to qualify on testing footsteps when you rely so much on sound and not sure it's working. And then he said, I hope ESL get every major from this point onwards as a general consensus among players now that ESL run the best events. Guardian replied to this, and I just thought it's brilliant. Guardian learned the very British trick of if you can call somebody anything you want, as long as you begin the sentence with no offense, right? You can literally say, no offense, but I hope you fucking die. Yeah, it's reasonable, isn't it? So Guardian replied and said, no offense, but I think this is a pretty douchebag move to write this kind of stuff after all the game days. Complain on social media when the issue appears, so there is more pressure on the tournament organizer to fix it and not like this. And then MSL replied with, mate, we went through their channels over the first 5 days. They fixed headset after 2 days. They took new PCs yesterday, but they weren't better at all. So yes, we tried it the right way and it didn't help. Sorry for trying to help you for the next stage. And I thought, this is brilliant. To try and frame your griping.
His angle's genius, isn't it?
I'm trying to help you. Yeah. I'm trying to help you. We're out now. I'm definitely not being salty as fuck.
It's not. It's not because I went out the tour. I'm not shit. This isn't about this. Listen, Guardian. This isn't about me. Yeah. It's about them kids out there. People like you trying to make it. in this fucking
doing it
game.
For the kids. I'm doing it for the kids. I'm doing it for you. I'm doing it for the kids. It's not.
What about little twists? How's he gonna feel with his hair like something out of a fucking like accessory kit for Ken? How's he gonna feel when he hears no footsteps and 10 FPS? I don't want to see him cry.
It's unreal. I don't. I think even MSL doesn't believe that, right?
It is. Here's the thing, though. I'll give him credit. That is a creative way to attempt to spin it. Like he's done a half decent job there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Didn't land, obviously.
Didn't land. A tough crowd. All right, but anyway, let's start talking about the ones who obviously got through. The 3 teams, so we can end on a nice little positive note. I'm fucking psyched, mate, because I've been. How long have I been fanboying on Ty Lue? How long? Yeah. Never shut the fuck up about him. I remember distinctly it was on probably a very early episode of this when we relaunched, and I was saying, "Oh, I can't wait to see fucking Ty Lue at this event." And you went, "Fucking hell, your life must be shit, mate," because I get excited about watching this fucking team. But ever since they picked up Bentet and Excurate, man, this team is fucking so much fun to watch. Even when they lose, it's fucking entertaining. And they play Counter-Strike the way that it should be played, I think. They do go for some like fucking wild strats. It's chaotic. It's eclectic. They rely on big plays from the big players. Excurate has been absolute god tier this major. One of the players of the major, like so far. As it stands, that first week, unbelievable. Clutches, impact, fragging, had it all. Bentet was quiet by his high standards, especially the first 2 days. But somebody stepped up as well and delivered a level of performance. They really looked like such a great unit, and I was just made up when they got through. And here's the thing, obviously with the first game they've got against MIBR, I don't think that's cut and dry. I do not think that's cut and dry at all. I think I saw, was it I'm a Pet, the best coach in World Counter-Strike, who runs a tight dressing room. Was it him who said that Ty Lue had an easy path?
I don't know.
Something like that about it. I might have just made that up. I hope I haven't. But anyway, yeah, I thought like Ty Lue fucking, played really well, and I think they're gonna actually get stronger as the tournament goes. They were really happy. You could tell how much it meant to them. They were speechless when Paula asked them a question they couldn't understand.
That is one. Here's the thing. I've actually tried over the years to rein it in, wrecking Paula a bit too much, because the problem is, you know what? We're not like friends or anything, but like I don't mind him when I get along with him at the events. And sometimes he is hired for the right role at an event, and he can add a bit of levity and fill some time when you've got a tech problem. Yeah, he can do all these things for you. But the problem is, Reddit has been going so hard on this joke about him that he always asks players, like he doesn't, like a trick to interviewing, as you will know, is one of the reasons, for example, why everyone's like, why is his accent all north and eastern when he's talking to Richard? Because I have an intuitive sense when I talk to someone from Finland, for example, to soften my words, to not use complicated vernacular that they will not don't even use the word vernacular, just say my words, I make sure they try to understand. It's the same way you talk to a baby. You don't go like, oh, baby, want to go, like, you're not doing that because you're an idiot. That's because that's what the baby can understand. You're helping it process information and grow and learn. But Parler, right, people have been doing these more and more elaborate memes where it's like Parler will say like, simple, the spectacular way that you entranced us, revivified the nation of Ukraine with your... I know, he's just been going like, he has been doing those sorts of questions, and then the person just goes, and he goes, you're spectacular, you're speechless.
we were joking about this, like, I feel like 2 fucking years ago.
Like, they're obviously exaggerating it, but it is funny. I can't lie.
Yeah, sure. But we were joking about that 2 fucking years ago. I mean, it's just silly that it's like, sometimes a gentle bit of ribbing. It's not that we're being mean. It's not that we don't like you. It's like, there's an element of truth in there, though.
And someone's got to give you the hard truth. So that's like a way you put a bit of sugar in there to help the medicine go down.
The medicine fucking goes
Whereas now
down,
at this point in time, Parler's like that fucking dog you have to like hold down in a fucking, like a full Nelson and go like, take the fucking pills, get it down,
like
get his throat, get his throat.
But anyway, so I'm super fucking psyched about Ty Lue, and as I said, I don't think the MIBR game's cut and dry. I mean, what did you make of in this tournament? Are they a threat, or
the fun thing about Ty Lue, you nailed it when you said that even when they lose, they're fun to watch. That's the best thing about them. Like, I'm not hyping them like, oh, they're a fucking sick team. Like, could go top 4 here. Or watch out, Navi, if you're in a slump, Ty Lue's going to fuck your shit up. No, the thing about them is I actually think like what you see from them, the good and the bad, is just who they are. Like, the thing about their team, because if you know like the scenario where they have to like communicate in 3 languages, like it's not an ideal setup in that team. So God bless them for finding a style of play that works and is fucking amazing to watch and actually suits the players. So I'm loving watching them. But for me, what's great about them is they're exactly what you want from an upset team. I think there's a lot of teams they could upset in this big major, even top teams, by the way. So there's a lot of teams, if they get the right map and they get a roll going, they'll fuck some teams up. But you know what? I think they'll also probably lose some games you expect them to win. They could play against a Cloud9 and lose the game. That's the thing. They're very up and down like that. And it's not even about map, like specific map. It's like against which opponent they're going to get it. So I think they're one of the most exciting teams to watch. Definitely one of the most unique. I think they've got an outside shot to make Legends. It's hard to bet on them because they're just so like even the style of play, you don't know what to expect from them. It's just there's just no rhyme or reason as to what they're going to do. So yeah, I like them. I definitely want to like, because the thing is, for people who don't understand, it's very rare you actually have teams that are like on paper not top teams that are fun to watch. Yeah. Like Vega Squadron, I'll give them the same credit. They are actually entertaining to watch.
Oh yeah, there are really so many. Go for it, you know.
There are so many teams in that like 8th to 15th spot who are like delusional and think they do have the players to play like real Counter-Strike. It's like, mate, your best chance is to try some sort of crazy shit, because if you try and go out there and call real strats and grind the T-half out and set this guy who's your main AWP up every time to go head-to-head with a device, you're going to get your fucking lunchbox taken and you're going to be rammed in a locker. Like, it ain't going to be a good look for you. Whereas the difference is, I watch Ty Lue, I watch Vega Squadron, I have fun.
Yeah, and don't forget they took a map off Astralis at Stockholm, right?
Yes, they beat them on Mirage.
Which hasn't been a great map for Astralis the last few.
Not the last few weeks.
No, definitely hasn't. But you know, and then they picked up a win against Gambit. They had that OT with Optic. That Optic nicked. I really thought Tyler were going to do it. This is another thing I keep saying. It was becoming a bit of a meme on the on the stream. I was like, Ty Lue don't lose in overtime. They've got a real good record in overtime. They lose in quadruple overtime, it seems.
Well, here's the thing, Rich. Logically,
but they don't lose in overtime,
sense, right? Because another thing I love about them is, another thing that sucks about those middle tier teams is every time they're in the big clutch, every time it's 14-14, every time it's overtime, they are going to sit back and play not to lose. Ty Lue just play balls out. They just go for it. And you know what? You can absolutely fuck that up and look like an idiot. You can try, like, what people don't talk about is if they'd have just played that scenario correctly, Renegades, they just defused the bomb before somebody even gets there and he looks like a dickhead. Because he pulled it off, he's a legend. And that's what I want in a Counter-Strike player. You know, if you can't be the best player, be the most entertaining player.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said...
And if you can't do any of that, I'll see you on the fucking face it desk for week 1 of the next major.
It's back again. It's back again. He's punching down, non-stop punching down. So look, we may as well get to the whole Vega squadron chat. I mean, look, I'll be honest. I didn't necessarily think they could go through that new legend stage either. When you look at some of the teams we had coming into the major, I would have definitely put Vega squadron down, especially after, you know, they lost Mir. And it's like you were saying on Twitter, you know, I could tell you must have been a little bit sick the past few days, because you were even saying, can we all just get along and put down all the petty tribalisms? I like, fucking hell, Duncan's calling for peace here. He must be fucking
That's also because, Rich, I've had the same thing now for 3 majors. What happens is every major comes along, and so when they don't change the format, I make a video that in some sense addresses the format. And nearly always in addressing the format, one thing you're going to bring up is, if the CIS minor continues to have 2 spots, it is also to some degree a free run to the major for teams that otherwise aren't good enough. And I always say, if they are good enough, then they will also make it through an expanded European qualifier or whatever it may be. Now, what people from the CIS region constantly do every major is, first of all, now I understand this on one level. I'll give you the caveat. A lot of them don't have very good English skills. As in, even when they're tweeting to me, they tweet me in Russian. So a lot of them don't have great English skills. So you know what? Maybe they're misunderstanding me. But the amount of people who take what I just said there, which is sort of like an assessment of a format, not even about teams necessarily, and they reduce it down to, Thorin thinks everything from the CIS is shit. So as a result, if Vega Squadron, who hasn't been in the last, I think it would be 3 minors, wins one map, people say to me, how do you like CIS teams now?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I like them. Now, what was your point again? No, but how do you like them? You hated on CIS. I'm pretty sure I get told on a daily basis I suck Singaple's dick.
Yeah, no.
I think I'm kind of a fan of CIS teams. You know, it can't be both at the same time.
It's a crazy thing. It's like you said. You made the point. It's like the qualifier doesn't even apply to Vegas Squadron.
And think about the logic they're making, Rich. What they're saying is, you said our teams couldn't make it except through the minor. Well, we just won games. All right, so then can we get rid of the CIS man? No, because we need that. Come on. At least have a coherent
put it this way. I will start to embrace the notion of the CIS region having strength in depth if Windstrike do something. Then we can talk, I think, for me. I don't think they're going to, though.
Because, by the way, that's the other end you can go with. It's like, why is Windstrike there? It's the same thing. What you're saying is these teams shouldn't be at the major in this sense. Like, as I've said, when Vega Squadron wins a best of 3 over North, I'm not like, doesn't count. No, you tip the hat. They have won. It is legit.
Yeah, exactly. And, like I say, I was surprised that they did as well as they did. I thought they took a big hit. And they haven't, I don't know if it's me and I'm missing the games, but it feels to me they haven't played a lot. They haven't been super active compared to some of the other teams. I've been looking at some of the tournaments they're playing in, and it's like, if you look at it, they had some games in May, and then they played 3 times in June, and then there's just this big gap, and then it's like, right, we're at the major. It's like, what happened between the end of June and September? What was I supposed to be looking at? Well, how am I supposed to make an accurate prediction if the team never plays? So that was a bit crazy. But as I said, the big story for me about Vega has been that Chopper has just been fucking absolutely insane. And again, one of the best players at the major so far. So yeah, I thought, I'm pleasantly surprised that they were able to get through. They had some real every game they played was super competitive as well. I mean, check this out, right? So they beat Spirit 16-14. They beat Big 19-16. They lost to Liquid 19-17. They lost to Complexity 19-15. And then obviously they 2-0 North in that must-win best of 3, which had a 16-13 in it as well.
So there's 3 top 10 teams they played.
Yeah, and mega competitive, super close games. And
all over the map pool.
Yeah,
and, it's not like they can play one map.
It's more mind-blowing as well that it's that Kibican is on the team. He's called Tony Black now.
Listen, I'll tell you what. There's a lot of stupid player name changes, but first of all, that's actually a pretty good player name change because you can't guess you from Eastern Europe. And secondly,
he sounds like he's a character in a fucking mafia
Sopranos
movie.
Or something. Yeah. And then secondly, your name Kibakin was worth nothing. It was worth less than dirt. So reinvent yourself.
Yeah, but this is what I mean. I always remember when people said, "Oh, Kibakin's fucking changed his name. He's called Tony Black now." I'm like going, "Well, fucking." A rose by any other name would still smell as sweet, and equally a turd by any other name will still reek of shit. But turned out he's not been that bad. He's doing his job. He's had some stinking moments. He's had some embarrassing moments. But I mean, fucking hell, maybe your name change is what's, all these, maybe Skadoodle needs to fucking get a name change going on. Breathe some
maybe
fucking
call
life.
Himself Artem Rafkovsky. Just go with the same naming scheme where you just pick a name that doesn't make any sense in the context of where you're from.
Who knows? But yeah, super impressed with Vega. And of course, while we're talking about Skidoo, they have got Cloud9 straight out. So they've won that next game as well.
That'll be tough.
You don't mean that.
No, because I'm so tilted that the idea that they just have to be there because they won the last major. What a stupid system that is.
Yeah, well, it is what it is, bro. I think you gotta have the fucking people are holding on to the fucking trophy. You gotta have the fucking.
Here's the question:
you gotta defend your trophy.
How many people have to leave the team before it doesn't count anymore?
All of them. I don't know.
Okay. So one guy, just Skadoodle.
Skadoodle. Yeah, just Skadoodle. The thing is, though, as well, the community would agree with that probably. I mean, I'm making a stupid point. Look, I think we've agreed 3. The rule is 3. They've got 3. It's 3. You know, and you gotta have the people who win the last one come back and try and defend the crown. Cloud9 are going 0-3.
Could definitely happen. In which case they'll be back to the minor. Remember, that was the rule change.
Yeah. I mean, I'm saying they're going 0-3. Maybe they can get fucking lucky, and if they get like complexity or something, you know, because that's like a local derby, and maybe, you know. But yeah, I've got no hopes for them. I think Vegas Squadron must be rubbing their motherfucking hands. Must be loving it. So the other teams
living in a world where the number 1 and number 2 teams in the world are drawn in the first round.
Yeah. So let's talk about the other teams as well. I mean, we won't go into anything about Astralis. And is it worth talking about how they looked a little bit mortal here? I mean, are you worried?
Not really. I mean, I am in terms of like, obviously now they've lost, I think 3 of the last 4 games on Mirage. So there's one little cracker starting to appear. They got 16-1 by North on Dust 2. There's a few little cracks, but generally they're still good enough. There's like the one game they lost was still in overtime. You know, like it's still, there's still just too much quality there to see them it really being like a big deal. Like put it this way, if they lose, it'll be like the semi-finals. Like unless they literally get like Na'Vi or FaZe or something in the first round, they're going to be going deep in this one.
So even contextually, because as I said, they could very well have lost to Rogue. They had some very fortuitous things go their way. I mean, you know, you're still not worried.
Nah. They would have won the best 3 no matter what.
I've seen this before. It reminded me a little bit of like kind of almost like, you remember the 1.6 Fnatic team? You know, the qualifiers, notoriously terrible. The group stage, terrible. But then when the fucking big games turn around.
As long as they creep through. Exactly.
Yeah, and that's how they used to play it.
In fact, that's the sad thing. If you're the team that gets them in the first round, but you go, they're beatable. You know, they've just, they almost lost to that team. They were almost out. It's like, listen, there's a lot of people with that almost story. Because the point is, if they just turn up on that day and play great, you're out. Yeah.
Big got through. And I guess the story coming out of Big was it was a struggle for them. By no means was it an easy journey. And I'll tell you what, you remember when they had that miracle run at Cologne, everyone was talking about, wow, Nex is fucking back. Wow.
He's back to majors is where he is, motherfucker.
Yeah, mate. This is a fucking...
It's terrible, isn't it?
No, it was real bad. It was real bad. I mean, listen, I was joking about it because obviously, you know, Smoothie does like to have a fucking... a moan.
He's got a gob on him.
Yeah, he's got a gob on him, exactly. But I mean, like, I was joking about it on the stream, saying like, I just picture like there was a moment in a game where I think Smoothie had 19 kills and Nex still hadn't fragged. You know, Paul Joseph Watson, let that sink in. It's ridiculous how bad Nex has played at this event.
And by the way, that's why I can't really handle it. It's like, remember, Big hasn't been playing at big tournaments for a long time. They're basically ESL Cologne's the only one this year. So you can't look at them and be like, oh, they've just rehabilitated Nex completely. That's all. That's up there in the category of like MSL's the MVP of the tournament. It's like, come on, mate, you got to wait for that to come back down and like balance out again. Let's see where he is after 2 tournaments at least.
Yeah, you know, like I don't know what was going on. Maybe there was some other shit going on. But I mean, put it this way, like. There's still some weird shit going on. There's rumors flying around about Smoothie being out of Big and all.
I had heard them.
Yeah. I can't believe that.
I couldn't tell if they were just my own secret dreams and fantasies being fulfilled by
listen. He's
young synchronicity.
Yeah, he's fucked in the feed. He's got problems. But he's proven he's a fucking real good Counter-Strike player. So who gives a fuck? It's just
the problem is this, Rich. Like, unless he literally is like a really strong carry player, there's always going to be that thought in the back of their minds. This is a God B team and it's a German team. The thought is going to be there. Would we be better as a team though with a German speaker? You know, there's always going to be that aspect.
Yeah, it's true. No, but I mean,
whether it's warranted or not,
he put that tweet out, didn't he? He himself put that tweet out. Where he was like, you know, because he'd done a tweet earlier where he's like the perfect team is like 4 Germans and 1 UK guy. Okay. And then he said like, what's even better? 5 Germans. And that was when there was all this chatter that after ESL Cologne, he'd somehow put his proverbial foot in it. I mean, the guy he has got the fucking, like, he's got the social skills of fucking Jeffrey Dahmer. Let's fucking call it what it is. He's fucking not a people person, is he? He can't help himself in that regard.
To be fair, Jeffrey Dahmer was getting all those women when he was in prison, though. So I'd give some prop. I'd edge it to Jeffrey.
He didn't have to drill holes in their heads.
Exactly.
But
where's your game at, Smooth? Yeah,
you know what I mean. But it's just like, it's like I say, the trash talk's fun when you win. I don't even mind that. I don't even mind it. But when it's all the time, right?
And he does it in a way, Rich, where this is the mad thing. On the one hand, he's one of those people who definitely in person is like, it's just fun, and yet. You can tell it like his feelings are hurt or something. Like he definitely takes it all seriously. That's the bizarre part about it. Like that's the tone I get from it. Could be wrong with my read there, but that's the feeling I get from it. He is very young, to be fair.
Yeah, and this is what I mean. Like maybe it's like reminiscent of Simple in that regard. Just like didn't respect anyone around him. Like even the players he claimed to respect and have learned from, like Markelov. As soon as he was playing with him. Shut up, old bastard. It was just like fucking just can't help himself. So yeah, I think Smoothie is kind of like that. I can understand. And like I've said it before, God B is not a guy who'll tolerate any nonsense in his teams. There's a guy now.
If you lose as well.
Yeah, there's a guy that some CS fans might remember. Called Just 9, and it's like meant to be Justin, but it's got a 9 in there for some reason. I've never really understood.
His only claim to fame was Shaq actually attempting to say that name incorrectly on the NBA broadcast.
Yes, I do remember.
What a bizarre piece of TV history that was.
Yeah, and then obviously he's like a pretty big PUBG streamer, I want to say now. Okay. And seems to have done a lot growing up and a really cool guy. But he was very difficult when he was playing in NRG, kind of via him. And there was Gobby didn't feel he could make it work. That was why they went away. Back when they had Justin and Silent, he didn't feel, that he felt there was hope for Silent. He didn't feel that Justin would ever listen and sort of benefit from it. And I know Gobby it doesn't matter if you're playing lights out if he thinks you're detracting in other areas.
Exactly.
So
by the way, God B is one of those leaders where their philosophy isn't to win the game. Their philosophy is to get better and to play the right way. And they know that if you do that, you win the game. That's the byproduct of it. But as a result, there's none of that shit that a lot of, by the way, esports pros, including Counter-Strike pros, do, where it's like they do a stupid move, but they're like, haha, but I won the round. Like, that config knife that he did at that major. It's like that sort of shit would never fly in a God B team.
No way. And this is why it suddenly becomes plausible. Now, I'll say, I think it would be a real silly move. Big have pretty much launched this guy, and and obviously Smoothie has got a future in top level international Counter-Strike, English speaker. But this feels like a place he really needs to make his fucking home for a while now. And if he doesn't, I think he's going to regret it long term. So if there are any difficulties there, they need to put it to bed. And again, it's about how you temper everything, right? The trash talk's great. Making fun of your own teammates, like you put a tweet up about Nex saying like, hard at work, preparing for the next game. Like keep man, obviously Nex has just had a stinking tournament. He was playing Dota or something, or League or whatever it was. I can't remember. Playing another game that wasn't Counter-Strike. Now maybe that's all good fun and banter, but I never know because this guy's social understanding is so far out of fucking whack from what I would consider normal for a pro player. Who knows? Who knows if that's like not loaded? And, I can imagine him being very vocal. He doesn't strike me as a player who doesn't... I mean, I've heard him when he's playing FPL. Of course, it's completely different to a team environment. But he lets people know if he thinks they're playing shit. And again, the only voice God B likes to hear during a round is his own, or unless you're calling pertinent information. So, real strange situation potentially brewing over there. But yeah... Bottom line is Smoothie has been easily the best player. Tabson had some moments. Tizian impressed me given the gravity of the situation. But there were some games where no one on big besides Smoothie turned up. Smoothie's just been head and shoulders above everyone else on the team. And then right at the foot of the pile is like Nex. It's like I think Nex's stats were in line with fucking hard styles. It was that bad. Which tells you all you need to know. But anyway, bigger through. They'll be looking to improve. And who else have we got? We said we'll skip past Astralis. Special shout out to Hellraisers, I think. Hellraisers, we talked about them very briefly early on. I think, they've come in and done exceptionally well, all things considered. And I'm going to go on record now, and because I do remember the things I say, and I like to own it when I get things wrong. I remember when that Hellraisers team, this very team, was announced, and we had a laugh and a joke about it. And I know that I've kind of like intimated that, wasn't it weird how fucking wrong we were about Issa and everything else. I saw his interview with Parler where he was crying because, again, he couldn't understand what was being said because it was just big words coming at him thick and fast, and it was an emotional moment. But seriously, like, Issa has been so fucking good, and it was a knee-jerk reaction seeing that he was from Jordan, and it was pure fucking ignorance on my part, and I didn't really know what I was talking about, and I just thought chances are he's going to be bad, so I can just securely say he's going to be bad. This Hellraisers lineup are a fucking unbelievably good lineup. Issa is a vital part of that, along with Woxic. They, as a team, deserve to be there. And fucking absolutely wrong to be dismissive of these guys.
Dude, I'll let you have to say it. He's still not a good player. I still think he's one of the worst pros. But there is something about Dead Fox. I don't know what it is, but every now and then, because it was in that overtime game, every now and then he just does that one on train. He will just do some mad shit, which is inconceivable for a player that in theory is bad. But at the same time, just keep watching. Before you start going, wait a minute, Thor, he's pretty good. Yep, my mistake. You just give him enough rope, basically.
Yeah, I definitely think Dead Fox is the weak link, but again,
it definitely helps. By the way, he's not the AWPer now. Now he actually sometimes is just a normal player. Whereas remember before, when they had the Stick-O lineup, etc., he had to be the primary AWPer. They've got two players who can definitely AWP over him now. And for real, I'll say this. I think that there's a sort of a strange harmonious balance. Like, you look at the team, you see that there's like a Dead Fox on it. You see that like Bondix on it, and it doesn't feel like this is a team. But again, it's that they have the opposite of MIBR and NIP, where you look at MIBR and NIP and you go, fucking hell, look at these lineups, guys. We should be winning the tournament. And then you go, how aren't they winning? So you look at Hellraiser's lineup. Like, remember, we didn't even know Woxic and Issa basically before this team. So on paper, nothing to speak of. But how many teams have they given trouble?
Well, again, and I suppose a lot of credit. I mean, look, it's easy to give credit to an in-game leader when it's all working, right? If it wasn't Angel, I'd be more inclined to kind of say this is like reminiscent of a Na'Vi, in that you've got Woxic and Issa, who are the equivalent of your Electronic and Simple, and they just fucking basically plow through and do incredible things, and you kind of ride along on the coattails and go, yeah, but I'm in the team as well, like Edward does. But Angel, he's another in-game leader with a proven track record of making disparate parts work and fit together into a system. And the fact that Woxic and Issa's talent ceiling is so unbelievably high, it that obviously massively helps Hellraisers get to where they are. But the reality is, he's an in-game leader that can get something out of Dead Fox. Any other team,
exactly,
he's out the door, right? Especially once you take away his AWPing, which is what he was known for. When he was in those Hungarian lineups. Same with Bondic. Bondic's kind of a player, felt he was winding his career down. He goes out to China. He comes back. Yep. Angel finds a way to make him relevant again. So I
just look at players when they're not in the team, Rich. So Stick-O has fucking suffered massively. Everyone's almost tanked his stock from being a mouse, even though he had great results. Then you remember Zero. No one remembers him. He's nothing now. He's a nobody. Yeah. That guy was actually looking good in that Hellraisers team. So, it's one thing, right, if he stayed in his own region. Where the fuck
is Zero? You're right.
Exactly. One thing if Angel stayed in his own region and he just had the hookup, like his ex-teammate now plays for or coaches a team at tier 3 who tells him, get this player, he's going to be sick, No, there's none of that. He's going out there and getting players from fucking Slovakia, players from Czech Republic, players from Jordan, players from Turkey. This guy's like sourcing all the talent of the world.
Yeah, I don't even know who's discovering him. I would love to fucking sit down and talk to him.
That's true,
actually, because is it coincidence and the orgs he's been at like kind of lower tier, so they do go a little bit further afield for talent. But I remember when Optic initially found Mixwell, and I remember it was Daps who actually found him. and went out and sourced him and scouted him and said, this is the guy, and we're going to bring him in, and convinced Hector to bring him up. So, so I'd like to know how Angel consistently finds these players. Because you're right, I'd totally forgotten about Zero, because obviously he's fucking inactive. I don't even know if he's retired. But there was that moment. Young. Yeah, he's pretty young, but I mean, again, like we saw fucking, what's his face retire? The French player, XMS. You know, announcing retirements in esports at like age 20 or whatever the fuck. But I mean, I remember when Zero first came through, we were looking at him and we were like, you know what? Yeah, this is a fucking hell of a find. He was playing really well, and now he's just fucking nowhere. And again, the consistent entity in all of these stories of the fucking revolving door of Hellraisers somehow getting value out of the play. It's Angel, isn't it? It's probably his way. I mean, we joke about it all the time, how they've got this suicide pact and they're going to go all the way down together and they're going to stay together. But actually, it wouldn't surprise me if Hellraisers were basically paying him a huge fucking salary compared to everyone else, because he's the guy who goes out and is discovering these guys. I'd be super interested. If Angel watches this, get in touch with either me or Thorin. I mean, he must be due for a reflection after the major.
Yeah, he's wicked. He's also got a very good sense of humor. Actually, people don't know that because obviously he doesn't.
But I remember him. I remember him at fucking the Take TV parties.
At least there was someone from Eastern Europe who was funny there.
Yeah, I was going to say the only time he wasn't like laughing and joking around was when Babam was talking,
doing his best material as well out of his Bob Monkhouse little black book. That's a fucking dated reference. Right? He's been dead for about 10 years, hasn't
he? Definitely up. You cross that one out.
I know.
Cross that one out. So anyway, so definitely grab that and make sure you ask him that question. Okay, so we'll get to the end of the show by talking about the two teams that were kind of right at the top, and some surprising, not surprising, that's the wrong word, but some interesting names up there. So obviously, Team Liquid. There's this big growing surge at the moment that I'm noticing where everyone's going, oh, Team Liquid are going to win this major. I've seen this a lot. People are messaging it to me like, mark my words, Team Liquid, this is Team Liquid's major.
Don't worry, Moses is triggered as fuck, because obviously that's Moses' shtick, right? To say whatever the best NA teams, he goes, they're going to win. And then because people sometimes forget who was first when, a wave starts. Everyone's going, oh, have you seen that? That Sponge has picked Team Liquid to win.
Yeah.
And you just don't. Here's the thing. Here's what I want everyone to do. Don't tell him this. But if Team Liquid wins the major and Moses does a tweet like, I always knew they could do it, just go anyone could just copy what Sponge says. He is a fucking sick in-game leader. Just do that tweet at Moses.
I know. He'll drive Moses nuts if everyone tweets it. All you do is copy Sponge, mate. Like, you're fucking unreal. But I mean, but remember when Anders made it where he attributed the age of Tarek to Moses, and Anders just kept saying in every broadcast, Moses, you think Tarek's going to be a great in-game leader for Cloud9, and actually, because Anders is so fucking just in tuned with the fact that it's not reality and anything he imagines comes true somehow, like they actually went and won the fucking major off the back of that, and people were saying, oh, Moses knows. It's like, no, Anders did just invent that in his demented mind. But so this will be kind of the inverse of that, where Moses is like, I've always picked Team Liquid, me. It's always. But anyway, he played fucking well. I saw all the games, and I thought pretty happy overall with their fucking performance. All of their wins. Legit, dominated Optic, dominated Hellraisers, and had an overtime win against Vegas Squadron, right? Which, within the broader context of what happens, turns out pretty good win as well. So cruise through without a sweat. Gotta say, I can't believe that they're going to win the major, though. I'm not a believer. I still think they have Twists. Well, we're talking about best players at the major. He's in there too. Along with the other names we mentioned. Unbelievable. What a time for him to hit peak form. Elijah was good as well, these events, but the real story here is Twists looking absolutely sick. And Taco seems to be a bit more comfortable. All the parts are moving. And then it gets to Nitro. And I know there's always got to be a guy on the bottom, but I've never really, apart from that one big tournament, I want to say, where was it? Was it just before the major? When Nitro hit, the Boston one? When Nitro started AWPing and in-game leading and went absolutely fucking ham for a month, and everyone was like, oh, wow, Nitro's finally living up to that promise he's been, kind of dangling that he might deliver. Well, I still think there's something not quite right with this balance. I don't think they have the perfect formula yet to consistently beat the likes of FaZe and Astralis, and I think they're going to come unstuck.
And they've just never won yet. Like, that's the problem. This
Winning
core has been in a lot of finals now. They've made a lot of top fours. And you know what? That's great for your career. That makes you like someone who's heading towards being a great player, a great team. Problem is, though, eventually you got to win. And that, by the way, that's at any level. You got to win a small tournament. You got to win a medium tournament. You got to win eventually. Because put it this way, the other teams, they might be scared of you in a one-off match. But if they get you in a final, they're going, awesome. This is the team I want to play.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a tough one for me. I respect it from my fellow colleagues, and especially a mind like Sponges.
I will say this though, Rich. One of the things, I've said this before, but one of the things that makes me a bit different from other analysts and people who are industry insiders is I actually have a policy that I always disregard entirely inside tips. So, for example, if people tell me, "Oh, this team's fucking tearing it up in scrims. Oh, they're so insanely good," I ignored it. I ignore it. Right? I go off what I've seen in the tournament, and if they start to show me in the tournament, maybe I start to give it some credence. But I will say, a lot of times when you hear someone say, "This next team's going to be," and you think, where's that coming from? It is oftentimes that it means in practice they're doing really well. And, so like some top teams told them that, like a FaZe Clan's told them that, or fucking Astralis has told them, and that's what's making them think, right, I've got the fucking insider trading tip here. Better buy up,
Yeah, it's nonsense. I'm not feeling that at all. The scrim results are absolute garbage. People are testing stuff out. Sometimes, I've even heard talk of top teams like just fucking around against other teams because they want to mind fuck them and make them think they're better than they are. Like scrims are gibberish, not to be taken seriously. But anyway, I think Team Liquid are going to have a good run. But I'm with you. I think first time they come up against a real test, I don't know if they got the winning mentality, and I still don't know if they're the perfect Team Liquid lineup just yet. Question marks around Nitro for me. So the other one, NIP, I think maybe this caught people off by surprise. They were given obviously a layup to begin with. They were drawn against Virtus Pro, which is kind of like battle of the fandoms and the fallen legends. But it doesn't matter how far fucking NIP go down. They're never going to be as bad as where Virtus Pro are right now. I punctuated this point with a tweet as well, basically, saying we got to stop the Forest Neo comparisons at this point. It's not fair. It's not relevant. It doesn't mean anything. Like, Forest is still a very good, high-level competitive pro. And in the game against Virtus Pro, right, he had 20 kills, over 100 ADR. If it wasn't for Dennis, he would have been, the top player on the server. Meanwhile, Neo, 5 kills, 40 ADR. It's apples and oranges at this point. And I know it's a story that we all like to talk about, but it's a waste of time. But NIP had a very easy time in their first game. Then they took on, I'm trying to think who it was next, Tylo. So, they obviously should get that. And then the interesting one, when it was the best game of the majors so far, was the NIP Astralis one, the 28-26. A lot of these overtimes, I saw some Reddit threads come out going, "Oh my god, all these overtimes! It's been the best major so far in terms of exciting games. The quality's been dog shit." Yep. The quality.
By the way, that's one thing. Normally, you don't get this happen, but when you have people talking about not just one PC problem, but lots of PC problems and lots of issues, and then you have all these games that are 16-14, overtime, 2 overtimes, and they're not great games, that actually tells me there's something leaking over there. Like, I could see the results actually being indicative of some fucking bad problems. Not so much in this game itself, because this was a great game, like you say, but some of the other ones were ones where it's like, don't let the score fool you. This was not a good game.
No, I'm telling you, like, there was a lot of real low quality games. Put it this way, I watch, like, people who follow my stream, follow my shit, they know this about me. Like, I'm the type of motherfucker, if I see a game, like, I just watched NRG Swole Patrol. Like, I will watch fucking games, anything. If I think it's going to be good, I'll watch games in obscure regions. I just like to watch Counter-Strike. It's very rare for me to be watching a game and think, this is just, I'd rather turn this off. I'd rather turn this off and watch something else. Very rare. And I've felt that a few times this major. There have been some real low quality games. We've only had a couple of blowouts, I want to say. 2 involving Astralis. The Astralis Complexity game was really embarrassingly one-sided. So was the Astralis Spirit game. Those were very boring for that reason. But we've had some overtimes that are just like, just get me the fuck out of this game. Like, this is bad. Like, what? 4 overtimes of this badness. It's not acceptable. But this one, the Astralis NIP game, what a fucking match. High quality, back and forth, individual skill, great tactics. And I've got to talk about Lecro. DK kind of might be holding a bit of an L on this one. I think a lot of us were. I think we even said the same thing on the show, that when Lecro was brought in as IGL, it kind of felt like a last roll of the dice. I think we said, you swap out a player who isn't really an IGL to bring in another player who isn't really an IGL and make him IGL. It didn't feel like it was a move that was going to reap any dividends. Well, forget just in terms of how much better NIP have looked lately. They've been there or thereabouts at tournaments, looking a bit more like their old selves. They're, Get Right starting to get back into the rhythm a bit more, and Forest continues to defy logic year upon year. Rez, what a find. Dennis, great player. But Lecro dropped fucking 50 against Astralis.
Against the best team in the world.
Yeah, he dropped 50 against the best team in the world. And sure, okay, there's multiple overtimes. It went 50 in regulation and nothing, but why the fuck would it be? He dropped 50 against the best team in the world and had so many fucking clutch rounds. It was ridiculous. What a fucking performance, man. And just really liking the way NIP look. I think you can tell now that the days they've spent so long out of the big leagues that any ego they had in the, I think the final, kind of element of the ego of the NIP of old went out the door with Exist. Now it's like, how do we win? Not we're going to win. Now it's let's play, let's contextualize a map veto and try and make it as good for us. Let's not play into our opponent's strengths because fuck it, we should win because we're an IP. Those days are gone, and it's great to see. Get Right tweeted out afterwards, like saying that you saw how emotional he was at the end. These guys were jumping around like they'd won the fucking major. Get Right was fucking saying, we've been away for so long. This is all we've dreamed about is getting back there. So super happy for them, obviously. But I think it bodes well. I mean, I think if you want to talk about fucking dark horses and the long road, why not NIP? Why not? If you had to pick a dark horse to go to the fucking semis, why not? Why couldn't it be them? I think Lecro's NIP is a very different beast, and I think they're gonna get some big scalps.
I think semis is a bit far. The thing with this team is, like, as I said, it was actually, it's the other way around. When they were bad, it was baffling they could be bad with that many good players. Like, I don't know what you're doing with this lineup that makes you bad, but now they have a style of play. They have a half decent map pool. That's the qualm for me. Is like, I feel like they have to get very specific opponents. Like, actually, Astralis is one of the few teams they can go against who they can get some of the maps they like. It's going to be hard to play against some of the other teams. So I think if they get the wrong sort of 4 or 5 teams, I don't think they can go that far. So potential for legend spots, yeah, I'll give them that. Make it a deeper run than that, I don't know. Depends who they play.
Well, I mean, I guess we're gonna get a much better idea, and of course, it's all best of ones again, right? We're gonna get a much better idea.
Oh, I'd assume the last match is the best of 3 still, right?
Yeah. They're up against Mouse Sports first. So I guess we get an idea
start,
about, yeah. I guess we get an idea, and I still think Mouse Sports are there a little bit for the taking, honestly. So that's not the worst draw they could have got. We haven't got time. We're not going to do predictions for the next games. I am just going to say though, because I just want to get your thoughts just quickly. Okay. G2 Hellraisers. I hope you're ready for some fucking heartbreak, because Hellraisers are winning that one all day long. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Could happen. Barrack and my boy Kenny S takes over best player in the server, probably win the game.
All right, we'll see. Another good call for an upset here could be Complexity. They play Fnatic. I'm calling
Not
that.
Bad. Especially because, by the way, at the first stage, Complexity only played Inferno, so still haven't given a whole lot away, actually.
Yeah. So I think I'm calling that one, and I've already said Vegas wouldn't beat Cloud9. I don't even think that's an upset. at this stage. Tyler, where my BRs, that's super interesting. It's really map dependent. I think if that's overpass, I think Tyler win.
Here's the thing, Rich. If Tyloo actually does win that match, then whether there are still problems or not, finally the issue of the PCs being not as good will probably become relevant on Twitter a lot, I imagine. So
here's the thing where we're going to.
And NSL will be like, I tried to save you, and you turned your back. It'll be like that cartoon where it's like, but they hated Jesus, for he said the truth.
He spoke the truth. Yeah. So before we just do, shout out to the patrons and everything.
I hope it turns out that like one of the patrons is that guy who you like fucking wrecked earlier.
What?
Remember when that happened? Yeah.
Clem Johnson.
No. That guy who was like Han Solo or something, you know. Well, like you fucking idiot. Oh, sorry. Turns out he's a patron.
We've just lost $1,000. Anyway.
Clem, never heard of him.
Yeah, never heard of that one. But anyway, so look. Obviously, we're going to be doing the No Majors Club on this channel. So I just wanted to sort of pin you down and see what your schedule was like. I've already lined up a few guests for it. I did reach out to Steele. You saw him in the chat earlier. He's just got back from a holiday in Germany, I think. So I said to Josh, if you want to swing by the stream, we'd love to have you on. Reached out to Launders. We obviously had Hex drop by when Optic were playing. Which was a nice little appearance. We've had Scoots on there. We've had Vince on there. We've had Henry G. I reckon we're going to get a few more surprises. But are you down to stream and watch the game?
Yeah, I'll watch some. I probably can't do all of them because obviously I work through the day, but I'll definitely do some games. And as the tournament goes further and further on, yeah, for sure, we can do loads of the playoff games because I'll be watching them all.
Yeah, and the great thing is as well, because it goes out on the client, we can actually show the games.
Ah, right, yes.
So we're not just doing audio only.
I mean, here's the thing, face it, if you really want to test everyone's love and if they treat you like ESL, you could put a DMCA on Rich's channel and get it taken down. But I feel like that could backfire on you. I'm just going to warn you. If you want any reference for that, go and ask a retired guy called BSL. Like, he'll give you all you need to know about that.
Yeah, so basically, what we want to do is, for those that haven't been watching it, it is called the No Majors Club. It's a play on from the No Homers Club with the Stonecutters reference. Google.
It's going to be a bit harsh for Steele that you're going to be calling it that.
Yeah, I might change it if Josh comes on.
For him, when he comes on, just say it's called the Fun Stream. Yeah,
it's stream. Yeah. So we're doing an alternate stream. Basically, the premise is the game's going to be on the background. We're not going to be casting the games. We're just going to be shooting the shit, talking about anecdotes. It's just like a few of your friends, watching the games with some beers. Obviously, Sam's going to come on as well and do some. So I know people love Sam. And again, I don't know who's going to swing by. Anyone's welcome. We're going to get different personalities in the scenes, managers, owners, maybe some players as they start dropping out.
I'll hit you up with some
Everyone's welcome.
Let's get a nice little crew.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. And it's just literally we're just going to sit on fucking Discord, watch the fucking games, banter back and forth, get some chat, answer questions from the chat, talk, have fun. It's been really good so far. We had 2,500 people watching. So I think we're going to get more now that, Crazy Duncan's in his house and everything else. So definitely swing by and support it. It starts tomorrow with these best of ones. And we will no doubt continue to punch down on that stream. Anyway, shout out to Rivalry for sponsoring the channel. Make sure you go to rivalry.gg/RLS if you want to play some bets on this major so you can do it in a safe environment. Check it all out. And then obviously our patrons that donate to bring this wonderful podcast together. Shout out to them. And those are our $100 patrons, Botvic, Chris N. Wynn, Detlef Insomniac, Hyolo, and Jerky's Minion. And our $50 patrons, Maul Stockley, Sardzawar, Daniel Plamanov Yordanov, Pete Bidstrup, Ivan Candido, TC Owens, Carv, Roosty, Ditter Dornoff Christensen, Nostradamus, Marcus Kjompa, Madsen, Ollie Ginther Zillen, Colin Penny, Benakagi Assassin, and William Southern. And there you have it. So with any luck, me and Duncan will see you tomorrow for the alternate stream. Thanks for watching By the Numbers. And until we see you again, take care.